All right, here we go. Streaming to approximately 0 people on any platform. It's me, your boy, Dan, once again, doing what appears to be part 3. Count them, 3 fingers. 3 parts so far, if not more, of exploring Penumbra City. Penumbra City. No, antivirus, don't. Jesus. You pick the now. Now the antivirus picks the time. I've been doing nothing. I've been doing stuff, but I've been doing nothing that requires I kick off on the stream. The moment I go live on camera, antivirus wants an update. Jesus. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing fine. I'm not going to waste a lot of time in the preamble, but I've got Penumbra City once again, and I am going to go ahead and continue looking at it. Yesterday we went through, this is part 3. Originally, I was just going to do this in one session, and then I spent 3 hours just going through the setting and intro and the game system, which overall I like. Catching up anybody who's in the background. And is my stream frozen over here? Am I getting bad things happening over here? I might. All right, I don't know. Hopefully, I'm keeping an eye on my Twitch stream, and I'm not sure if that one is... Oh, it says it's offline. Did my Twitch stream die? My YouTube one seems okay. My Twitch one, however, seems a bit fucked. Or maybe it's this. Maybe it's this app that I'm using. Is that it? Is that it? Well, you, Twitch viewers, let me know. Let me know if you're here. Otherwise, I guess I will continue. I was trying not to waste too much time with the intro here, but I guess I'm not. So I'm just gonna dive right into it. Let me go ahead and first of all bump the light on this, make it a little bit brighter. There we go. All right, professional over here. And now I'm gonna go ahead and switch to the overhead, and let's see. Here we go, Penumbra City. So part 3. So in the past couple of days, I've gone, here we go, we're here, there, and everywhere. Hey, Strugglebuzz, welcome in, my friend. Let me try and pull this screen up again. Let me know if the video looks okay for you, Strugglebuzz, because I'm monitoring it on my iPad here, and it seems to be a little freezy. I don't know. I'm worried. It also says I have 5 viewers, and that seems unlikely. That seems terribly unlikely. So I suspect the system is just lying to me. I don't know. Video is okay. Getting to the stream took a minute. Yeah, I don't know. Well, so long as it works, everything up here shows fine. Now I'm not getting errors, really. I said I'm just mildly concerned. Maybe if I just restart this app, let me see here. Let me see what happens if I just kind of restart. Because YouTube is telling me I'm excellent. This app is telling me I'm okay, I think. Okay, cool, right? I don't know, okay. Hopefully, okay, I think it's working now. I think it's not hopefully it's not freaking out. Here's hoping. All right, well, anyway, hi. Hey, Strugglebuzz, and hey, anybody else watching, those mysterious 5 viewers that this thing claimed that I had, which again, I assume must be lies, just filthy lies told to me. But past couple of days, we've spent some time looking at Penumbra City tabletop RPG from for the 3rd day in a row. Gonna go ahead and just absolutely murderize the game of Inmun Neruin, the designer of this game. Big fan overall. We've got a game that's all about building coalitions in a city, in a sort of steampunky, magic, very blaze in the dark feeling kind of world in which you are part of you're trying to build a revolution. Big fan of the setting, big fan of most of the system. We went through the bulk of the character classes yesterday, or at least half of them. And overall, I liked just about everything I saw until we ended on a bit of a sour note with the gunslinger. Because after all the other factions, all the other groups, hey man, Avaritas, how you doing, my buddy? Hey, good to see you. Good to see you here. So if you are in the market for spending 3+ hours barely getting to maybe 20 pages of a tabletop RPG rulebook, I'm your niche. I'm here. I am. Rock you like a wait. No wait. Not maybe not the best. Not the best joke to make for a fellow Puerto Rican. How you doing, buddy? But yeah. So I was disappointed with the gunslinger class yesterday because almost all the other ones have either something pretty cool like, oh, I don't know, bomb. Well, you know, a lot of classes have bombs, but these guys have like bombs and access to like difference engines. You have Corsorian Knights, Anarchist Knights, which is dope as fuck. We have we're here with the Dog Girls with their badass bikes. We've got the ex-Marines with fucking power armor. And then we get to the Gunslinger, and their whole thing is just, I have a gun. There's nothing stopping other people from having guns. They just kind of start with guns, and I guess they're good. Like, they've got some bard stuff, so they can they've got this. But what really disappointed me was that the progression, leveling up on the Gunslinger, it's just about guns. It's you add a scope, you add a scatter shot. It's very limited. 2 of them are only for rifles, require level 3. It's a very limiting progression, nothing too special, just stuff that makes you slightly better at guns. And I don't know, I feel like I've seen gunslingers in other games that just have more variety. This, all you get to do is you shoot bullets. One of them lets you shoot non-lethal bullets. That's it. Like I said, I would have maybe changed a lot of this stuff to make it like, I don't know, just add different types of damage, different effects you can do. It's maybe something like the ex-Marine's ability to kind of, where is it? The ex-Marine has the ability to, yeah, there we go. More is more. They can basically lash together chunks of guns to make bigger guns. Why doesn't the Gunslinger have that? That doesn't make sense to me. And the only way I can figure like this class is not so bad is maybe in the combat system, being a ranged fighter is just so effective that just making you a slightly better ranged fighter is enough. Which, fine, I guess, but also that means if in your combat system, ranged combat is so superior to all other sorts of combat, then the fact that most other classes don't do that, I don't know. Like I said, I'm unhappy, but that's really the only one that I'm unhappy with. Like almost every other class, I'm pretty thrilled with. We did end on that sort of meh kind of Gunslinger, which is a shame because the rest of the system I love, the rest of the setting I love, and we're going to the next class that I'm actually sincerely worried about how this is going to go, right? Because I was like, afraid this sounds cool. You're going to give me procrastination today. No worries, man. Hang on, hang out. Feel free. Like I'm just going to be here for the next few hours, being a nerd in general, both here and live streaming on YouTube as well. Looks like maybe all my streams look like they're good. Cool. I appreciate that. I appreciate it when the tech works. Cheers. So let's get to it. I am worried about the Labor Thug class because, once again, we've got people in power armor, we've got people with super ass bikes, we've got, later on in the book, we've got occultists with magic, and we've got the patchworkers with like super fungal science healing. And then these labor thugs are just described as just dudes with lead pipes. Or ladies with lead pipes. Again, appreciate the art when we get it. We don't have that much art in the book, but when we get it, we appreciate it. So let's see what makes a labor thug special. Hopefully something makes them special, and it's not like the gunslingers where the only thing that makes them special is I have a gun. So let's see. To a labor thug, everything is a weapon. The industrial workers of Harrow have their own unique warriors, the labor thugs. You can find these folks on the front line of every picket, ready to fight scabs and kingsmen over labor rights. Or, would be allies over the obscure minutiae of political theory. Whomever. There we go. Leftist infighting in a class. All right, cool. The vibes are immaculate so far. Let's see how we go. They're masterful organizers, and they're terrifying in a brawl. To a labor thug, everything is a weapon. Barstool? Weapon. Empty bottle? Weapon. Market stall? Weapon. Unsuspecting bystander? Weapon. Inside and outside of combat, the labor thug is a master of mobility. All right. I like the description so far. Let's see if the abilities actually live up to it. And the system's got jokes. Look, I like the system. I like the system overall. I like the self-awareness, right? The leftist self-awareness. So they're definitely a frontline fighter. High HP recovered per rest. Obviously, is speed or strength to start with, because they're all about combat. Will for many of the class abilities. Let's look at the class abilities shortly. See, labor thugs look a bit like droogs or clockwork. No, you want to see droogs, my friend. Check out the Fungalians. The Fungalians are basically barbarians. They take and use mushrooms to go here. We go, Fungalians. Take and use mushrooms to go into a battle rage, and check out that. There we go. You want your Clockwork Orange. There's your Clockwork Orange right there. There's your droogs. A little bit of both, honestly. Droogs over there, droogs over here. Those are the fancy droogs. These are the everyday working droogs. Droogs all around, though. Droogs all around. Let's see. So you got melee weapons, firearms, cool. Light armor only. So even though they're frontline fighters, they did say they're all about mobility, right? Yeah. Inside of their combat, they're a master of mobility. So let's see how that translates into it. And starting equipment, I told you, an iron pipe. Dude with a pipe. Picket garb, light armor, kinds of light armor. Thieves kits, engineers kits, union leaflets. All right, let's see what their actual abilities do. They're, of course, aligned to the revolutionists, opposed to the bulwark and the reasonable, and their helm factions are the industrial IWH. Cool. Let's see, non-combat abilities. What can we do outside of combat? During moments of calm or tension, in an area with people around, a labor thug can deliver an impassioned speech to people with whom they do not have a negative reputation. On a successful will check, a labor thug could inspire a small crowd to join their cause for a number of hours equal to the labor thug's level. If the task required of them winds up too dangerous, then many people might leave. Cool. Social abilities, you go in, you're able to gather a crowd to you. The higher level you are, the bigger the crowd and the longer they'll stick around. Cool, makes sense. I like it. Useful in multiple non-combat situations. Industrious. Let's see. A labor thug can organize people for work. If embarking on a large task or project that involves a lot of labor or machinery, a labor thug can effectively organize workers and machinery. This ability might be used to do things like figure out how to build a bridge, dig a tunnel, clear large amounts of rubble, rescue a sunken boat, build a piece of large machinery, organize blah 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 blah. When organizing such tasks, a labor thug makes 2 will checks. With 1 success, the project is successful. With 2 successes, the project takes half the amount of time it normally would. Interesting. So 2 successes. The first one just gets it done. The second one gets it done faster. Succeeding at the task, a labor thug does not automatically find people to help with the task. So you do have to find the people, but this just allows you to get shit done around the city, which again I appreciate. Unions strong, unions get shit done. We have a rule for unions getting shit done. Appreciate that. And saboteur. A labor thug can spend 15 minutes analyzing a piece of machinery or structure. As part of this analysis, they make 2 knowledge checks. With 2 successes, they know how to sabotage the apparatus in an easy and simple way. With 1 success, they know how to sabotage the apparatus in a more difficult and complicated way. A labor thug can opt to hastily perform this analysis in 1 minute, but makes the checks with disadvantage side. Die. Cool. Blow shit up. I like this. Again, you know how to get people together. You know how to take things apart. Solid. I mean, yeah, no. These they make sense. They make sense for the character sheet or for the character type. I have no major complaints. Compared to some of the other non-combat abilities, yeah, it's like social. So this one doesn't let you. This one doesn't let you change minds. A lot of the other social abilities let you take people that are maybe not on your side and get them on your side. These are more about people who are already on your side, put them to work. which is cool because it synthesizes with some of the other classes. Like you could take maybe, take an ex-Marine, for example, telling war stories. War stories will basically make people treat you better. People treat them as if they had a reputation of 1 for 1 hour. So basically, with someone that you don't have a lot of reputation with, first you wow them with the ex-Marine telling war stories, and then the Union thug, the labor thug, steps in and puts them to work, inspires them to get shit done. Love it. So what can we do in a fight? Let's see. I like that, really do. Mechanics for social. There's a lot of it. Every character class has had some aspect. I said even the ex-Marine, who's primarily a combat class, they have that war stories ability right there, where they can basically tell war stories, and it will influence groups to have a better reputation with them. And almost every character class has that. The dog girls have this thing where basically they can just declare that they know people in the area. Oh, I know them. Once per session, a dog girl can, upon meeting or hearing a new NPC, announce that they are already familiar with that character. Stuff like that. There's a lot of social stuff, which I sincerely appreciate, because not enough games really give you a variety of social stuff. There's like the persuade skill and charisma, and that's it. So in a fight, labor thugs, freedom of movement. Labor thug is adept at parkour, free running, and can move through the city climbing walls, jumping from heights, and performing general urban acrobatics. A labor thug gains the following benefits from their free running mastery. Cool. So you're parkour monkeys. They can move vertically as well as horizontally as part of their move action. Up any structure an adept climber would be able to scale. So wait, up any structure an adept climber would be able to scale. So basically you're good at climbing, you're good at parkouring. Can ignore 10 feet of fall damage. Very nice. During combat, they can move to distance as part of their move action, or they may break up their move action and main action. So high mobility, they can do the breaking up the move action. They have extra mobility, extra zones that they can move in. Solid. They may move to nearby, use their main action to move to nearby again. Exactly. Anything is a weapon. A labor thug can use almost any object they pick up as a club, attacking with either strength or speed, and doing 1d4 damage. When the labor thug goes up in level, the die that they use for improvised weapons goes up in size. Okay, I like that, because they do establish that labor thugs, everything is a weapon. And the higher level you are as a labor thug, the better you are at that. Solid. I like that. I like anything that grows with you. Strength is strength, an amount of times equal to the level per session. When a labor thug succeeds on an attack with a melee weapon, which I'm assuming your improvised weapons count, add the amount that they rolled under their ability score to their damage. A player can decide how to use his ability after rolling the check for an attack. Oh, that is dope. So here's why I'm impressed by that. You've got your D20. You're rolling under, there's a roll under system. So as a labor thug, you're probably going to have strength. Well, probably. They say you can use speed, so speed or strength. So if you have a high strength, right? And let me see. Oh no, you can use either strength or speed. Attack with a melee weapon. So even though the ability is called strength is strength, based on how it's written, you would be able to use it with just any melee attack, even a melee attack in which you use speed instead of strength, which your anything is a weapon counts. So that means you can add this. So at higher levels, this gets kind of nuts, because the point is the amount of the player rolled under their ability score to their damage. So let's say you've got a strength of 13 to start with, relatively low to high strength, and you're rolling to hit. That's a 12, so that's not a great example. So you rolled under 13, you hit, but you would still, if you were to activate this, which at that point seems like a bit like a waste. Luckily, it specifically says you can decide to use it after you hit, or rather after rolling the check. So at this point, I probably wouldn't have used it. But if I rolled and I got a 1, okay, so a 1 here is a crit, so that is an excessive success in the game. So that would be a super hit. The weapon, there's nothing specifically about super crits about this kind of weapon. So I think you would automatically just, to start with, do double damage with that. And at that point, I would probably choose to use, if I still have any uses available, that's when you kick this in. Because that would add 12 extra points of damage. Because 13, which is a target, minus -1 is 12. So that would do 12 points of damage plus whatever damage I'm doing here. That is quite possibly the highest damage thing I've seen all game. And we saw the wait, I want to compare that now. I want to compare that to the the ex-Marine needs a cannon. Given an hour, the use of engineer skins, some iron pipe, blah, 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 turn it into a cannon, cannot shoot bolts, only bombs. So what are is there, let me see. I told myself I wasn't going to run around, but alas, here I go, looking around the book, because now I want to see if this means that a labor thug with a broken bottle is like the potentially the highest. A strong or fast labor thug with a broken bottle is potentially the highest damaging thing in this game. So let's see. Armor, weapons, weapon damage and ability. So melee weapons, axis attack with strength, range goes. How do we? Okay, basic. Axis strength, strength for speed. Levels. Okay, so depending on the level is how you do damage. Okay, so higher level weapons already do a lot of damage. So that makes a lot of sense. Because like a masterwork axe will do 2d12 damage. Okay, so now that I see, but now I'm curious again, are there stats for a cannon? Aha, bolt throwers, crossbows, man catchers. So bombs are just basic 1d6, which is fine. But I don't see stats for a cannon, so that feels weird. That feels weird that I don't see. I guess you would use rifle, use firearms. I wonder how you would actually do that damage. That's something to look into later, because that did bother me about the ex-Marine, that they just say you can turn your, and it requires level 5, so it's powerful. Turn your bolt thrower into a cannon. Cannot shoot bolts or grapples, only bombs, which is fine. But then for bombs, you're not really given. Maybe once we look at bomb maker's tools, but no, even then, I don't know. For something that requires level 5, it feels like less of a bonus than something that labor thugs just get for free at level 1. Again, I would have to play test to actually see, but by first, I mean, again, as a labor thug, I love this ability. But wow, yeah, it really does seem to make you particularly deadly. I guess especially at lower levels, if you roll well, which I usually don't. All right, well, let's keep moving. Okay, quick action. A labor thug may use any of their free actions as a reaction, allowing them to use those actions when it is not their turn. Cool. Okay, again, flexibility in action. And there's your out of action. You get taken out in combat for the cause. When a labor thug goes out of action, they may solicit bystanders, if narratively applicable, for aid by delivering a rousing speech. They make a will check. On a success, a bystander will come rouse them, returning them to 1 hit point at the expense of a point of ability score damage to the labor thug's highest ability score. Cool. So basically just a way to get back in the fight if there are people around to help you up, which again fits thematically. Like if you are with the people are with you and they'll help you back onto your feet. So thematically, dig it. Overall, big fan. This feels a little OP, but maybe it's because I'm not quite understanding. Again, I feel like maybe I'm missing something when it comes to ranged combat, because I'm seeing stuff that makes ranged combat easier, but the stuff that I see doesn't seem that powerful at first glance compared to some of the stuff like this that you get for melee stuff. So either the game just really wants you to be melee focused, or I'm missing something with distance combat, where it, like small bumps, relatively small bumps to your ability for distance, really just overshadows bigger things for close combat. Could be the case. So let's see how you progress, because that's where the gunslinger fell apart for me. Let's see if the labor thug holds up. 3 HP per max, ability score, yeah, so strength or speed. That's cool. Flexibility. Most classes only get advantage on this on one, not one or another. Proficiency, is that standard stuff? Okay, free running progression. Oh! So, okay, interesting. So you start your main combat stuff, which is the anything as a weapon. Well, actually, I guess that's built into freedom of movement. But you start with all your main combat stuff. The improvements you do as you level up are mostly about movement. Which, I get that. See, a lot of this feels like it needs play testing to get a sense of it, right? Right? I mean, again, I might be missing something. Like, this is, by definition, not ideal because I'm just reading through the book as I go. There's probably stuff in the book that I haven't seen yet that might affect stuff. So I'm just kind of giving my thoughts as I go. Which is why I haven't like 100% given a grade to the game, because while I like a lot of it, there are things I'm running into that I'm a little bit unsure about. But at the same time, you know, even the things that I'm a little unsure about, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm willing to give it. They've certainly, you know, it's in the here we go. It's in the credits. Look at all those playtesters. They've definitely playtested their game more than I have, so I'm more than willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. I might be missing something. We'll hopefully figure it out as we go. Let me redeem a quick hydrate on myself. Not sponsored by Ghost Pink Lemonade. Good. When you're off your meds on ADHD and you need that caffeine because, unfortunately, unemployment does not cover Adderall, Ghost, or energy drinks in general. I'm not unmedicated and manic. You're unmedicated and manic. Man, sponsored by Big Water. You can't hide it from us. That's usually what I drink. I'm just a water guy. I will occasionally indulge in large amounts of caffeine just to get the brain to slow down, but which it normally is not how you would think that would work, but ADHD is fucked. All right, so let's look at the progression. Let's see what you can do with free running as you level up. You get to pick some of these. And this one's interesting. Let's look at all these options. Look at all these options again compared. I'm going to keep harping on the gunslinger. Gunslinger, all you get is 1, 2, 3. I don't care. The scatter shot has multiple things it does. It's one thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out of those 5, 1, 2, and 3 are rifle only, which means that over half of the things you can do as you level up are only for your rifles, not for your handguns. And they're stupid. This one just requires level 3 to add a knife to your rifle. It requires a fancy rifle in level 3, and just does more damage. I mean, it's just these 5 things. They're so limited. And then you've got this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're all simpler things. And you can only ever choose 5 of these. You start with 1, and as you level up, you get to pick 1 more. Oh wait, no. When creating labor thug, and when leveling them up, a player may pick 2 of. Okay, so technically, let's compare it with somebody else. Let's see. Let's see the. Let's see. It doesn't match up. So there's. I mean, I'm single writing progression. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so no. So it does look like that's the case. Okay. Yeah, Michael, can I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? So it's not perfect. It's not a perfect match. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it usually tends to be 5 or 6. Okay, so it's not that unbalanced. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 5 advances. And as a free, so you get to pick 2. So it basically just turns into 5. It's just more flexible. All right, fine. Well, let's see. Hopefully they're better than the gunslinger ones. Let's see. So dive roll. So again, keeping in mind that we're going to get to pick 2 of these on every level up. And when we start, dive roll. A labor thug is immune to the knockdown condition. That one alone, boom, big deal. A lot of stuff knocks you down, and when you get knocked down, that sucks in combat. That much I've been able to figure out. So big deal on that one. Always ready, immune to being surprised. Not that common, but handy. So far already, with just these 2, we're already ahead of the gunslinger. I'm going to keep shitting on the gunslinger. I'm sorry, game creators. Fix your gunslinger. Fix the gunslinger. Make him. See. I'm taking this one personal because one of the games that I want to talk about. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. If you want to talk gunslinging, literally, gun and slinger. This game, I cannot wait to talk about it. I'm not saying it's better than Penumbra City. Penumbra City is a very different beast than gun and slinger. I'm just talking specifically about gunslingers. This is my flavor of gunslinger. And to be fair, I mean, but it's also because it's high weirdness, and I love high weirdness. But to be fair, hang on. To be fair, where to go? Where to go? This is one I'm gonna need to take a look at. And if it's taking me 3 hours per, geez, look at all the dust. If it's taking me 3 hours per, for like 20 pages on this little book, just wait until I break out. Jesus Christ, look at all that dust. I gotta clean this off. There we go. So break out Haunted West. Now there's some gunslingers right there. Look at that. Those are some guns to be slung. Look at that big old chonker of a like perspective. Okay, actually, let's see. Put it side to side here. A bookmark. All right. First of all, much bigger book, but also spine-wise, that's. Oh my Jesus. Okay. Anyway, someday. To be fair, someday I will need to take a proper look at Haunted West. Look at that. That's some kind of gunslinger. I don't even know what that is, but I don't even know what that is, but I want to learn about it. So I'm curious to see. This one, I'm probably, when I do it, I'm going to need to get the camera a bit further away because this is a big old book. Yeah, this whole system, this whole book, there's. Oh boy, this was like a season onto itself. If it's taken me this long to just do a little bit of Penumbra City, this one's like gonna be like, welcome to 2026. This year, we're gonna make our way through Haunted West. There we go. Put that aside. We'll get back to Haunted West eventually. Oh, wait. No, Exalted. Here we go. I am not going to. Ow. I'll fix that in a second. I am not going to do Exalted 3rd edition, but I do have Exalted Essence, which is slightly bit of a chonker, not that big. And this one is another one that I'm going to hopefully spend some time going through eventually. I'm looking forward to that one. That one I think also is going to need the camera to be lifted up a little so we get a better view. But yeah, exactly. Essence is considerably slimmer than that one. Let's see. Gunslinger should have an ability, shoots with his heart. Yes, I get that I understood that reference. Okay, folks, give me just a second. I'm going to have to pause the stream just for a second, because as I was getting that book, I accidentally dropped something, and now that I look at it properly, it's made of glass. I need to go pick that up. So bear with me. I've got a be right back screen. I will be there, and I will come back as soon as I make sure that there isn't glass on the floor that my cat might step on. So I'll be right back, folks. Well, here's hoping that was all of it, because my cat immediately went to where the glass shattered. Cat, do not cost me a vet visit. Is that glass? Are you sitting on glass? No, that is just regular dirt. That is litter. Hey, hi, I'm a professional. How are all you doing? We are looking at Penumbra City, and I was bitching about how gunslingers should be better. Gunslingers deserve better, and I have other games which will have gunslingers that I will get to eventually. In the meantime, let us continue as we were looking at the labor thugs, what they've got to offer, and so far they've got more to offer. They've got more to offer than the gunslingers. So here we go. Jump attacks. A labor thug can make melee attacks against opponents that are nearby with an advantage die. So, Jesus, okay, these guys are brutal in combat. Escape artists. A labor thug can make checks to no longer be caught as a free action. If they fail the strength check, they can reroll the check with speed. Mobility, you can't get caught. The government cannot stop you. The mental institution cannot stop you. You will continue to be a silly little labor thug till the end of your days. Grapple. Once per round, as a free action, a labor thug can make a strength check against a close opponent. On a success, the opponent is caught. So you can't get caught, but you're going to catch whoever's coming after you, which I dig. Throw enemy. When a labor thug has an opponent caught, they can, as a free action, make a strength check. On a success, the target is knocked down and takes 1d4 damage. So literally the ability to manhandle people. Give me that. A labor thug can make a strength or speed check to take a close opponent's weapon or object they're holding from them as a free action. I've only seen one other ability so far that lets you disarm an opponent, and it's definitely not a free action. I think it's the Lordling. Yeah, the Lordling lets you, when you parry, it gives you a chance to disarm somebody. And I think that's the only one that I've seen that gives you a disarm. Let's see, do the dog girls have a disarm? The Marines definitely don't. Let's see. Very few disarm moves in this game. Let's see. Dog girls. Charge. That's friends. Speed counts. Last ditch. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Their stuff is more scouting and breaking and entering. Swift hands. Yeah. So this is only the second sort of disarm ability that we've seen all game. Cool. I like it that not every class has everything. That gives some classes the ability to be special, which always appreciated. Let's see. Continue. Throw anything. First we had throw enemy, now throw anything. A labor thug can make a thrown attack on a close or nearby target with an improvised weapon as a free action once per turn. Nice. So basically, you've got your improvised weapon, so no matter what it is, you pick up a bar stool and then you fucking throw it. And I'm gonna assume it does the damage that it does on the chart, right, on the tin. Let's see. Disappear. A labor thug makes speed checks to escape combat with an advantage die. All right, so cool. So you're also good at getting out of combat. I think the only other one that we've seen with this, we've seen two more that have at least two more that have a sort of like always keeping an eye on the exits. I know was it the Fungalians? No, I think it was the dog girls. Yeah, not the clackers, right? Yeah, definitely not the clackers. Oh, no, the clackers. Yeah, clackers have an eye on the exit, and so do dog girls. Dog girls also have a thing to kind of get them out of combat quicker. Anyway, well, find it later. So that's three of them. Okay, cool. It is interesting, though, to see that in a frontline fighter. Dog girls are mobile. And again, these are frontline, but they're also very big. They're kind of monks. They've got monk vibes from the labor thug. Mobility, high damage, not a lot of defense, but a lot of manipulation. They're very and the free running parkour. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of monk inspiration that I'm getting from the labor thug. Interesting. I was not expecting to see monks there, but cool. I'll take it. And finally, Pocket Sand. Fuck yeah. As a free action, a labor thug throws sand in enclosed target's eyes. Attack is made with speed. It does no damage, but on a hit, labor thug's next attack against the target has an advantage die. Cool, cool. So support ability technically for yourself. Yeah. No major complaints on this, especially since all of these are pick 2 with every level. So it's going to give you a really nice variety of stuff. You get to choose how you level up, which ones you like at the most. Yeah, no major complaints with the labor thugs. I like this. Definitely a step up from the gunslinger. I will not shut up about the gunslingers. All right, now let's look at the lordlings, because lordlings, from the description, felt a little OP. Like, you're rich already, you have favors you can do, and apparently you can pick abilities from other classes. I am normally not a big fan of classes dick-stepping on one another. So I guess we're gonna see how well this works out. I'm concerned about the lordlings. Let's go ahead and read the intro and see what the lordlings have to offer. All right. It's funny to tell you that we've got friends in high places, but we mean it literally. See, being rich bores some people. I don't know if I'd get bored of it myself, but it definitely bores some people. So, some rich assholes from the silver, they like to go slumming, especially those who aren't going to inherit anything. We call them lordlings. And the thing is, you hang out at the theaters and the bars and the docks with us long enough, you get to like it. So the lordlings come down here slumming, and they can't seem to hide their accent, but let's be real, they're not always trying to hide their accent. They've got all the latest fancy armor and weapons, and they've got a line of credit even the most die-hard revolutionists can't claim isn't useful. They say they're on our side, and the ones who mean it work hard to prove it by joining our ranks. I've met lordling dog girls. I've met lordling patchworkers. I even met a lordling labor thug once. I didn't trust her much, which wasn't fair because she died last year ambushing some saints, and that's more than I've ever done. Really, it doesn't make sense to blame people for where they were born. So you're basically, as a lordling, you are from Silver. You're from the Silver City, and you're down here slumming it, but you still have access to a lot of the benefits from being up there, and you get to sort of pick a second class to go with, sounds like. So let's see how that works out. They're mid-range, starting HP 12, HP recovered per rest 2. Relies on will to charm their way in and out of trouble. Blah blah. Their ability scores. So this is kind of like a jack of all trades kind of vibe as well. Melee weapons, firearms, crossbows, light armor, heavy armor, horses, boats, and thieves' kits. Cool. Yeah, a little bit of everything. So they're good with horses. They're good on boats. They're good at sneaking around. They've got the thieves' kit. Yeah, it's very all-rounder. Here we go. Always appreciate the art when we get it. Languages known, Penumbra and one other. Starting equipment. So let's see. Okay, so we got some choices. A lot of them just define it for you. Again, the lordling seems to be A, jack of all trades, and B, very much a flexible. It's like, well, you don't know what else to pick. Be a lordling, sounds like, right? Because you get to pick one. Sword, fine. Axe, fine. Club. So fine weapons, as we saw in our little glimpse, weapons do more damage the higher their rating. Same thing with armor. So all your stuff is high class, which means you're already off to a good start. Handgun or crossbow, fine. Letter of credit from your father, whom you hate. A small purse of silver. 30 silver heads. Exquisitely well-made clothes designed to copy the look of street clothes. And a hat you're overly fond of, which other people tend to not be overly fond of. Okay, I dig it. Look at this! You're aligned with everybody! You start with a high reputation with everybody. Non-combat abilities, and we start off with you hate them, but somehow you love them. Despite the simmering class hatred that sits like the coal smoke on the city, people can't seem to help but like the lordling. Lordling has advantage on all will checks, so will is kind of your charisma in this game as well. In calm to convince people to help them with their plans. You're lordling, people put up with you because you have the cash for them to would be my take. Right, exactly. Like everybody likes you because you've got money. Let's see, is this really necessary? Once per level per day, a lordling can diffuse a moment of tension back to a moment of calm with anyone from the bulwark or the reasonable. Interesting. Interesting. So a specific social ability to let you de-escalate. I mean, they sound like they're going to be real useful. Straight up, they sound like they're very useful to have in a party, which makes sense. You want one of these guys, even though they're slumming it. You know, they have a way about them. Dad will fix it. The Lordling has a wealthy relative that lives in the Silver. Once per week, Lordling can call on the aid of this relative by letter, who has a reputation of 4 with the Silver, to intervene on their behalf. This relative will not do anything to upset or betray the Silver. But that's huge. A reputation 4? That is a major, major favor that you can call in once per week. That alone is wild. Money still buys something. So yeah, that's the other thing, right? I forgot about that in the setting. In the setting, technically, money, especially down in Penumbra City itself, maybe up in the Silver it's still a thing, but down in Penumbra City, money not that much of a thing officially. But here, let's see, money still buys some things. A Lordling can procure food and shelter from anyone they have a reputation of -2 or higher with by offering silver and succeeding on a will check. So even though normally money can't buy stuff, especially not with a group you have a bad reputation with, except for the Lordling, except for the fucking Lordling. All right, combat abilities. Do you know who you're dealing with? As a reaction to being attacked by a human, a Lordling may make a will check to intimidate their attacker. So this is like a Karen check. On a successful Karen check, their opponent attacks someone else instead. That is wild. That is wild. And pitiable. If a Lordling goes out of action, so they only have these 2 things for combat. But I'm guessing it's because we're going to look at the slumming it. This looks like there's a whole bunch to go on here, so we'll see. Pitiable. If a Lordling goes out of action, whenever a human opponent approaches them, they can make a will check to barely coherently babble and convince that person to spare them rather than finishing them off. Yeah, you're a survivor, you're a roach. It's interesting. They're making a character that is distinctly super useful to the rest of the party. I guess it depends on how you play them. I guess it depends on how you play the Lordling. I was curious how they were gonna pull this off, and I think they're pulling it off in an interesting way. Yeah, I can see the Lordling in a party leading to some really interesting roleplay possibilities. Let's look at the character progression. So all the standard HP, ability score, and proficiency stuff. Slumming it progression. Lordlings have never spent too much time honing any specific set of abilities, but they have had access to a robust education and are quick learners. Lordlings who endear themselves to factions they are not members of may learn the abilities of the classes associated with those factions as they progress in level. When creating a Lordling character, players choose a class from the below to learn from. The Lordling gains the abilities, equipment, and proficiencies listed with that class, as well as favor with the faction associated with that class, or with no faction in case of the patchworker. Players are encouraged to come up with backstories for how and why their Lordling character came to be associated with the faction they are learning from. When leveling up, a Lordling may either choose a new class to learn an ability from, so jack of all trades, you can learn stuff from any other class. That is kind of wild. But you must have favor with the class's faction. Okay, fair. A Lordling can only ever pick up 2. Okay, so you can pick 2. You can't just keep going with every single one. You can't end at level 5 with like 5 different classes. If a Lordling gains a proficiency, yada yada yada. Okay. As an example, Lordling starts the game at level 1 and chooses to be associated with the Hermetic Order of Nothing and learn the ways of the Occultist, who we haven't met yet. They gain ethereal connection, blah blah blah. They gain this stuff from the Occultist, a ritual tools proficiency, and a ritual kit. The Lordling chooses Blood Harvest as their Hermetic progression ability. When present to level 2, the Lordling, having gained favor with the Hermetic Order, chooses to continue learning the ways of an Occultist and learn Circle of Binding, blah blah blah, gaining no new proficiencies. Attempts to ride dog's wheels as part of a character's normal. They fail the check, do not learn how to ride a dog's wheel. When progressing to level 3, the Lordling, having started to hang out and gain favor with the Dog Girls, chooses Dog Girl as their new class. They gain Dog's Wheel Fighter, riding progression, blah 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 blah. So yeah, basically you get to you get to dabble in multiple other classes. But you do not, okay, so you don't get access to everything. They give you a list of the specific things you can learn from other classes. But still, like a Corsarian Knight, you can be a Lordling and also have like the Trance and Tenets, one nightly profession. So all the starting level stuff. Like basically as a Lordling, you start as a level 1 Lordling and effectively a level 1 another class. You start with power armor if you dabbled in ex-Marine. Wow. Yeah, huh. That is a lot. That is like, what's the downside? I guess there isn't. So balance is a tricky thing in tabletop RPGs. Not everything needs to be balanced, right? But when one class is just straight up more powerful, more useful, and more flexible than other classes in almost every area, and the Lordling is kind of that. They don't gain a lot of extra combat abilities, except a few things to kind of help them out. But it's mostly you're going to get to be another character class and add all this super useful to the rest of the group stuff plus high quality equipment. I mean, you're never going to be as good as a dedicated member of the other class just because your ability scores are going to be, you know, right, that there's always going to be a limitation. But yeah, I've called other classes Bardy before because they have social stuff, but this is like super Bardy, super Bardy, almost a little bit too good. I feel like it's almost missing a downside. It's missing something that could hold it back even a little bit. Like, why would that be a thing? Why would that happen? All right. I mean, I like it overall. I'm not saying no to the Lordling class. And if I was to run this game, I would almost insist that somebody should probably play a Lordling because it's going to be so useful to them, especially later on. I thought the Gaslamper was going to be the Billy character, but the Lordling is probably the Billy character. Interesting. Okay, cool. Thumbs up. Now we're getting to my area of interest here, the occultist. I'm always a big fan of whatever the magic class is in any game. So let's see what the occultists have to offer us. We're 1 hour into the stream. I did already take my break because I am nervous about the glass. I am nervous about the glass. I don't see any more glass on the floor. My cat is fine. She's sleeping on the couch. She's under a sunbeam. Good times. All right, let us continue with the occultist. The angels of death themselves. No one else around here is talking to dead people or casting blood curses. They're masters of hermetic magic, and they even usually use their power for good. Occultists walk the ether, summon familiar, and fight with knives and bombs. Well, some of them are just fun at parties. Alright, so low hit points, but you get 3 back per rest, so that's interesting. You got the low wizard hit points, but you get a lot more per rest. You recover a lot quicker, as opposed to, say, looking back here at the clackers, right? I think the clackers only recover 1 per rest. Let me see. Right, clackers, yeah, they only recover 1 per rest. Cultists recover 3, so they have a much improved ability to recover. Interesting. Firearms, knives, and bombs, only light armor, horses, ritual tools, bomb makers tools. Language is known. Okay, there we go. Starting equipment. So you start with 2 ritual sickles, which count as basic knives, 6 basic bombs, a tarot deck, a black gambazon, which is your armor, ritual kit, and the knuckle boat of a madman. Here's mine. Let's see here. So, wow, you start with really bad reputation with the bulwark, neutral with a reasonable. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right, let's see. Non-combat abilities. So what do we get? Okay, so there's a lot to go through, but you know, magic. The wizard character, of course, is going to be a little bit complicated. So let's see how long it takes us to get through this one. Non-combat abilities. You start off with fucking creepy. An occultist may seek to intimidate someone during moments of calm or tension with an advantage die on the will check to do so. Cool, so you have bonuses to be creepy at people. Entertainers at heart. Occultists are adept performers and can perform seances, read tarot, host public rituals to speak with the dead, and just generally know how to entertain socially. When an occultist is at a social engagement, most people, even if they do not have positive reputation with the occultist, will find them charming. An occultist gains an advantage die on will checks when trying to charm someone in a social situation. So, this is unrealistic, because as somebody who used to do up close magic, which I cannot, don't ask me to do that anymore, I am not good. I've lost all practice. I cannot do sleight of hand or anything like that anymore. But once upon a time, I used to be able to, and I can tell you, that shit don't work. That shit don't work. It did not endear me to people, did not get me laid, did not, no. Going up to David Blaine ruined it for all of us, is what I'm saying. How soon after the circus? No, this was before the circus, and probably a little bit after. I did not try to measure up to the circus people in terms of actual circus talents. Those people were professionals. I was a lordling. I was just a dabbler at the time. All right, let's go with deep lore. An occultist can roll knowledge checks pertaining to knowledge, knowing the history, mythology, or lore of hermetic magic with an advantage die. Cool. You are good at the things you are good at. Now we get to the actual magic. Ethereal connection. An occultist uses hermetic magic to perform many feats, such as traveling to the ether, speaking to the dead, cursing their opponents, and summoning a ghostly familiar. Alright, so let's see. We can do walking the ether, curses, and familiar. Walking the ether. An occultist may perform a ritual to enter the ether, a secondary plane of existence. This is basically astral form, sounds like. You do a ritual, blah, blah, blah. You enter the ether, perform a 10-minute long ritual. You create a reflection of yourselves, the ethereal twin or thelema, to travel the ether. Blah, blah, blah. Number of times per day equal to the level. Standard. While on the ether, a occultist may speak to the dead, travel, see echoes of the past, and use their knife and tether. An occultist may journey into the ether to a degree that is determined by the type of ritual tools they're using. Okay, so there's a whole bit at the end of the class. Walking the ether. There's a whole thing of the things you can do. So while you're in the ether, you speak with the dead, you you can fuck up other ethereal travelers. Good to know. You are an ethereal traveler. Yeah, it's just astral form. See echoes of the past. Interesting. So it's good for investigating. It's visible to other entries, so the material ether so you can try to take on the fast. Draws the attention of creatures in the ether. Seeing the past requires a will check. Interesting. So I'm assuming there are creatures in the ether. There is danger. Interesting. Okay. So my only problem with this is the same problem with any game that has an other world. Like World of Darkness. World of Darkness has the Umbra. The Umbra works great in Werewolf because every werewolf can go into the Umbra. Mage, it gets weird because not every mage can go. Also, games like Cyberpunk Red or anything with a hacking element where whenever the hacker wants to do something, now it's everybody go do something else, have a sandwich in real life because it is now the hacker game and we're now playing the hacker subsystem. Nobody else gets to do anything unless you're also a hacker. Like, right? That is a pain point. Exactly, Struggle Bliss. That is a pain point in a lot of games. And so that's my only concern. While I like basically making that walking the ether, like you get to go into this other world, right? You're walking the ether, you got an astral form, and now you're telling me like it's not just you got an astral form, but it is in fact an entire realm. There are creatures that are there, and that's how you speak to the dead, all this stuff. Again, very cool. Very cool. But what is the rest of the party doing while this is happening, right? If I have to lead a whole scene and it's just the occultist seeing these things in the ether. And the rest of the party is just kind of sitting there. Maybe at least, hopefully, right? If I'm doing a good job as a storyteller, then hopefully they're entertained as players, listening to the scene. But let's be honest, a lot of players they only tune in when it actually affects their character directly. The rest of the time they're on their phone or doing whatever, which fine. That's just how it be. But because of that, I tend to chafe against mechanics that take one player and effectively single them out and have you just play an entire sub game for that one player's thing, especially when that is the one thing that the player does. Like the occultists, sounds like you can at least do some other stuff. Like you see, you can cast curses, and you have a familiar. We'll look at those shortly. And you have battle curses and circles of protection and whatever this. We'll get to this shortly, right? But this main walking the ether ability, which has its own subworld and subsystem, cool, but it's another one of the cool, but again, what happens with the rest of the party? Because specifically, they would not see these things. They would not be in there with you. Which, again, it's a challenge. It's going to be a challenge for you as a storyteller, I think, just to keep the players interested and also just make it a compelling scene. And also make it so it doesn't take up too much of everybody else's time, but at the same time still do it justice. Yeah, it's a cool ability, but it is one that, both from a player side and from a GM side, mechanics like this always give me a little bit of pause. Because either you have to super simplify them so they don't take up too much of everybody else's time, and then that kind of nerfs them, or they are super cool, but it's gonna slow down the game for everyone else. We'll see. Let's see. Checked out on their phones unless the GM figures out a way to get them involved in action. No, exactly. Like, it is on the GM to try and keep them involved and active, but at the same time, look, human nature. And like, I do the same even when I'm playing with the Fandible folks as well. Like, if my character's not in the scene, I'm listening, I'm paying attention, and I'm enjoying the show because I'm lucky enough to play with some of the best role players out there. But it doesn't change the fact that I will occasionally just kind of check. My character's not part of the scene. I kind of check out if I've got my phone with me. I'm checking quick updates to see what's going on. Like, it happens. I don't judge people for it. But I don't need the game system itself making that even harder. Right? Because if people are going to check out anyway, I don't need to give them an excuse and go like, hey, for the next half an hour, we are playing this scene with the occultist, so y'all just kind of chill. All right, let's see. Great NPC option, a la Griff from Shadowrun Prime to advance the story. Right, exactly. Like certain stuff, like if you don't have an occultist in the party, then that's fine. You can hire an occultist, and you don't have to play out the scene. They can just see the results, which is fine. But if somebody is playing an occultist, this is going to be a really big part of what they want to do. If I'm playing a hacker in a cyberpunk game, I'm going to want to hack. If I'm playing a netrunner in Shadowrun, I'm going to want to netrun, right? I'm going to want to do my thing that I do at some point, and it's going to bring the game to a screeching halt. Which is annoying. It's very annoying because I love playing those characters. I love the idea of playing those characters. I'm a big fan. Again, I got excited as soon as I saw Occultist. And I'm not saying take this out of the game. On the contrary, I'm just worried. From experience, this would basically, as soon as I start walking the ether, I know as a player that it is now the Dan show. Which some players might actually see as a bonus, right? Because some players really do like playing that main character energy, which I'm not entirely unopposed to at all times. Like, sometimes you take the scene, chew the scenery. But the fact that that's going to happen anytime the occultist gets down to business, yeah, I'm iffy about it. Let's see. 100% is that character's stake, and they should be allowed to do so. But it's exactly. Like, it's your thing. You should be allowed to do so. I want you as the occultist to be walking the ether all the time. This is your thing. but it's very much just your thing, and it leaves the rest of the party out. And if those mechanics can't integrate the rest of the party, then I hesitate to include them, even if they make sense in the game world. As a game designer, I say as if I had any level of authority. I haven't published a hardcover game. All right, so take all of this with this bushels of salt, including the game creators, by the way, Penumbra City, just gonna butcher your name on principle once again, Inmin Ruin, and just the fine folks at tangledwilderness.org. Go check the game out. Even though I have nitpicked a little, overall, really digging the game, but I worry about these mechanics. And this is not even a complaint specifically about this game. I brought up Shadowrun, I brought up Cyberpunk, I brought up World of Darkness, the Umbra, which again works better, to me anyway, works better in Werewolf, where everybody can step into the Umbra, versus Mage, where only your spirit mages might be able to pull that off. So yeah, anyway, I'm harping too long on this. I don't mean to hyper focus, but also that is why it's taken me 3 days to get through this much of the book with all you people here. All you people, I say, as if there were massive crowds gathering for the thrilling tabletop RPG content that I provide. I mean, I can certainly hope so. I'm trying. How am I doing, folks? All right, let's just move on to the next ability, because I've ranted enough about walking the ether for now. Let's move on to curses. So you got curses out of combat, and you got curses, battle curses in combat. Out of combat, curses are cast using the occultist HP. This reduction in HP represents itself differently for different occultists. Some shed their own blood, others see their skin blister and burn or become discolored. Occultists may have a number of curses active at once equal to their level. Okay, I'm assuming we will see... Okay, so we've got some curses here. Her progression, ritual tool use. I wonder if... I'm guessing at some point they're going to explain this. I hope so. I would have hoped that it would be right there, but I don't see it there. See, providing context and nuance is important. Don't feel bad for having a complete conversation. No, I know. That's the thing. Like, I started looking at these books with the intention of like, all right, let me see if I can get enough material out of one of these books so that I can maybe put together a 20 minute, 30-minute video on one of these games. And the very first one I chose so far, I am, let's see, we did 3 hours the first day, 3 hours the second day. So we're up to just over 7 hours discussing this game. And he's going on asides as normal, but hey, we're having a complete conversation. That is correct, Struggle Bus. We are providing nuance. We are looking into it. These are deep dives. I thought they were going to be more casual read-throughs. Turns out that it's not who I am as a person. Who I am as a person is a person that goes page through page and really nitpicks, lovingly nitpicks at these games. So let's continue with the nitpicking. Where are these curses? What can I do? Where are they? You tell me that they cost me HP and they make me look fucked up, and I can have this many, but where are they defined? Battle curses appear to be defined here. I don't see. These curses are specific progression curses. In combat. Yeah, this is like specific in combat curses. Okay, these curses can do. Okay, so we'll get to them. But are these the only two curses after you build them up? Are these the only two curses we have? Like, I feel, is there not more two curses? Because now we're off to Patchworker. See what I mean? Hopefully there is more two curses. Just like hopefully I am missing something in combat. I'm missing something in distance combat, and that is why I continue to be salty about the Gunslinger. Let's see. I mean, this is a deep dive that what you've been doing. With some time, we could pare it down and refine it to distill the information into a PowerPoint or something like this. Yeah, no, exactly. Look, and I do want to do, like, part of why I'm doing this is to get this all in my head so that then once I'm done, I can hopefully just kind of blarf out a condensed, like, these are the vibes that I got from this game. Here's some specific examples. Here's what I liked. Here's what I didn't like, without going, bullet by bullet on every character class. But in order to get that, I got to go bullet by bullet through every character class. And I'm upset. Where are the curses? Where are the curses defined? Give me a C page something for curses, so that way I would know. Oh, okay, the only two curses are apparently the Undying Curse and the Blood Curse. Or no, page whatever page, 170. No, it doesn't actually have it, or whatever. But again, a lot of my nitpicks with this are with the sort of editing and layout, which is frustrating, because overall I really like this layout. It's a very readable book. Very readable book. But then you get to stuff like this. Point me at where the information is in your game book whenever possible. Assume I am stupid, because I am. Assume I am just a drooling moron, and I see only this, and I cannot find, I do not know where the curses are. You should point me at them. Just putting that out there. And a familiar. Let's see what you get with a familiar. Let's see. Afreitas, Ari, Astral Walk. Okay. Comments. I like the comments. This is where a GM can use their rulebook against a lone player that can Astral Walk. Guess what? Your Astral Walk has awakened a mystery enemy that has forced all the party members to Astral Walk with you. And if you die, they all die, or worse, LOL. Astral shenanigans. Yeah, no, exactly. Like, you can figure out how to. So here's my thoughts on that. Because I appreciate that. But also, if that happens every time, this is a core ability for this person. Just like with the Netrunner, hacking is a core ability. It is the thing that your character does. If every time you use your core ability, one of your core abilities, it causes just chaos in the party, it gets everyone dragged in. Like that is a good idea for a one shot. It's a good idea for monster of the week kind of thing, or for just this is what's happening this session. But I can't have that happen every time they use that. And I think that's where the core of my complaint lies, that you're making it so that one of this character's core abilities, the main thing that defines their character as they do, is something that by definition excludes every other character, and effectively excludes their players as well in a game sense. And that's my complaint there. That said, I do like that as a one-shot. If I was playing this as a one-shot, that's probably how I would handle, and that's actually a really good thought for how to handle this in a one-shot, where you do have an occultist and they're going to use their ability, and you only have 3 to 4 hours with these people. You don't want half of that at one of those hours, or an entire hour, to just be dedicated to just this one scene of walking the ether. So I would probably do something like that. But long-term play, approaching this as a long-term play, I've got my worries, right? I've got my doubts there. That said, I do like what I do like. So yeah, I always try to point out what I don't and what I do like. And what I do like about this, though, is that once you're astrally projected, most astral projection stuff is just like, well, that's it. You're now astrally projected. You're effectively invisible, and you can kind of look around. This one, once you're there, it opens up the door. Now you can speak to the dead. Now you can see echoes of the past. Now, in theory, you can strand other people in the ethereal realm as well. Like, it's a gateway. It's a gateway ability that opens up these other abilities. But again, these are real basic investigative abilities. Speak to the dead, see echoes of the past. In a lot of games, if you have one character that's your investigator character, yeah, when they step into a scene and they start doing their investigation thing, the focus of the scene is going to shift to that character. But even in those cases, anyone else in the scene with them is still there with them. They can have a conversation in the scene, they can throw ideas back and forth, etc., etc. With this, even if other people were there in the room in character with the occultist, When the occultist enters their trance and goes to start walking the ether, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters now is the occultist there in the ether, and so they're going to have this conversation with the dead, or they're going to see this whole scene with the past rebuilding and whatnot, and the rest of the party, I mean, again, out of character, hopefully they're paying attention, and then they'll hopefully be entertained by the description of the seed. But experience tells me they're gonna kind of tune out, because they're like, well, there's nothing I can do, so if my character's not actually involved, then I don't have that buy-in. And this is meant to be a whole, like, you're meant to be evocative of the descriptions, everything else. It's gonna take time. Almost as much time as I've taken with this digression, complaining about it. So that's my concern there. Let's move on to the familiar down here. So the familiar. So an occultist starts play with a familiar, a sentient spectral entity summoned from the ether, who takes on a form determined by the occultist in the material. The familiar is roughly as intelligent as a dog. Familiars are semi-corporeal and can pass through objects and walls if they choose to. They cannot fly. An occultist can communicate telepathically with their familiar. Familiars have 1 HP and cannot perform actions in combat except to move. If a familiar dies, they can be resummoned by performing an hour-long ritual. Cool. So you have a pet familiar. You can kind of talk to it a little. You can communicate telepathically with it. So you've got like a spy. It can go through walls. That's handy. That's handy. Occultists so far strike me as very investigative focused characters with, you know, like their abilities, deep lore. You've got a little bit of social ability, which is cool, but mostly investigative. I'm curious about the curses. Let's go into combat, see if maybe we get a bit more information about these curses. So in combat, our occultist has advantage on all will checks to resist the effects of hermetic magic or mycomancy. So you're good against other wizards. Solid. I like that. I like that. You know, magic users, hermetic, you know, power users are able to kind of counter each other. No problem with that. Battle Curse. In combat, as a main action, an occultist may curse a target they can see with a successful will check and a cost of 1 HP damage to the occultist. On each of their turns, as a free action, the occultist may choose to continue the curse by passing a will check. The curse lasts until the occultist fails her will check, combat ends, the occultist is out of action or paralyzed, or the occultist ceases to continue the curse. Whenever a battle curse takes effect or is sustained with a will check, the occultist rolls 1d4 to determine... Here we go again. Another table where it tells you roll 1d4, and then on a roll of and no numbers. This would have been an easy catch in proofreading. Your software, whichever word editing software you used, changed your bullet list, which I'm sure in your preferred pass-through had numbers, to just straight bullets. I should have been caught. Little. Again, I'm being nitpicky. Please don't think I hate the game. I don't. I love it. That's why this annoys me, because it's a good game overall. Anyway, let's try this out. So let's say you're an occultist. You have high will, so will of 13. You cast your battle curse by doing a will check. 10. You made it. Cool. D4. I need a D4. Hey, cat. Almost stepped on you. I'm going to use these fancy die from my die game. By the way, die. That's another game I want to examine. Actually, let's do a quick digression here, because that's another game. See, I'm going to show you some more. I'm going to show you a couple of other games that I want to cover on these streams eventually. So many games. I do want to cover the Orpheus Protocol at some point. I want to cover Extreme Meat Punks Forever, the role-playing game, and the game that these dice belong to. I bought the fancy version of Die. There we go, Die RPG. In the slipcover. Oh, the fancy version of this beautiful, beautiful book. It's got texture. If you've never read the Die comics by Kieran Gillen, highly recommended. This is another one that I'm going to be doing. I actually ran a five episode campaign, a short campaign of this in the past few weeks. My players had a lovely time. We told a hell of a story, and I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a rules-light game, but I definitely want to talk about it on this stream at some point. Anyway, these dice, because I splurged. Once upon a time, I had money. These are the special dice for that game, which will make a lot more sense later on once I actually talk about that game. But anyway, there's my D4. So we succeeded on our will check. Let's see what happened to the person that we cursed in this combat. I rolled, and that is a 3. Right? Yeah, 3. So 1, 2, 3. The target is stunned on their next turn. Cool. Next turn happens. I use my free action. Do I continue? No. Curse is over. Let's say I rolled actually, and I did continue with a 7. Okay, I roll a D12, D4 again. This is a 3 again. So stunned again, or if I get something different. Nope, I just keep rolling 3s. 3s. 1. Okay, that's a 1. No, that's a 4. Right? Yeah, that's a 4. So the target does something detrimental to its own size as attacking their ally. An attack which automatically succeeds. A cursed target will not harm itself. So it's kind of a little wild magic-y. Effective. You're basically, you can kind of lock down one enemy with this, assuming you can keep the battle curse going. On an excessive success, so if I were to roll and get a 1, a proper 1, the target is also frightened. I really need to find out what frightened does, because a lot of things cause frightened or resist frightened. It sounds like frightened is kind of a big deal. I think we saw a description of it yesterday. It's basically you have to make a will check or run away effectively, or just make a will check to just not run away, but I don't know if you can act normally, something along those lines. We'll look it up later. All right, cool. So battle curse is technically has a chance of doing damage, but has a 1 in 4 chance of not doing anything, which is not great. I don't like that. This game has a habit of letting you make rolls where even if you succeed, there's a chance you didn't succeed. That's a little annoying, because in this one you could roll your will. There we go. That's an 8. Succeed, and then get that 1. Actually roll the 1 there, and nothing happens. If I made my will roll, something should happen. Unless I failed. There we go, an 18. That would have failed. Okay, the target acts normally. But I should not succeed on my roll, especially something that's costing me HP, and then somehow still fail to do jack shit. That annoys me in this game. That's got multiple mechanics where that happens, including during level up. Once again, I am resistant to that mechanic where when you level up, you have to roll to see if you're able to learn skills or raise your abilities. Like if a cost is paid, exactly, Struggle Bus. If a cost is paid, an effect should happen. You should get something for that. It's annoying that that doesn't happen, and that is one of my pet peeves with this game. There are multiple mechanics, multiple events where multiple things that different characters can do, where you might make your roll, and despite that, nothing happens. Or you might achieve something or pay a cost, and it's pointless. Nothing happens regardless. That rankles at me. All right, let's continue here. So blood always has a cost. It's a reaction to taking HP damage from an attack. An occultist may hex the opponent that injured them. If the occultist makes a successful will check, the opponent that injured them takes half the damage that was dealt to the occultist. Cool. I don't have a problem with this one. You're already taking damage. It does use up your reaction, which is fine, because in this game, reactions are not just a general thing. Reactions are very specific powers that you can do. So this is your reaction thing as an occultist. So you might as well use it. If you get hit, you may as well roll a will check. That's a 7. That probably succeeded if I'm assuming I had a will of 13. So whoever hit me, let's say somebody hit me with a knife and did 1 point of damage. So they take 1 point of damage back. But let's see if they did I have an ability to keep rolling the same number. Yep, 111. Anyway, you want me rolling against you. But if you were to roll there we go. If you roll the 4, your target would take 2 points back, which fine. fine. No problem with that one. Death's Veil. Okay, so every character class, again, for anybody joining us late, every character class in this has an ability. This is not D&D, by the way, even though it does have D20. It is a different system. But when every character class has an out of action. Out of action is when you get taken out in combat. You go down to 0 HP. You don't necessarily die. You are, quote unquote, out of action. So and every character class has something, a specific ability that they get to kind of pull off when they are in that out of action state. So when an occultist is out of action, they may enter the ether. So on their turn, while in the ether, an occultist may attempt to disrupt a target's defense. To do so, they make a will check with 2 disadvantage dice. On a success, the next attack against the target is made with an advantage die. If the occultist dies, their soul, which they refer to as their thelema, remains in the ether, where the thelema of all living things goes after death, regardless. Okay, so cool. So actually pretty high effectiveness. So a lot of the out of combat, out of action abilities that other classes have are mostly about defending their body. Like the Fungalian one, you start just chanting weird words and you sort of stand there with your eyes closed and weaving, and you're just very creepy, and that makes it so people, instead of continuing to attack you, they might just choose a different target. So a lot of stuff to keep you safe. This one specifically lets you continue affecting combat and helping your friends, which is cool. I like it. I dig it. Again, balance-wise, it seems a little bit OP compared to a lot of the other out of action abilities, but not in the worst way. I wouldn't nerf this. I would just maybe look into buffing up a couple of the other ones, maybe. And again, these are just specifically only things that happen when you go down. So yeah, we'll see. And hey, thanks for the follow, Slippers123. Much appreciated. We're talking tabletop RPGs, specifically this one. We're just deep diving and nitpicking, which is what I do, and I do it with love. I actually really like this game, despite the fact that I keep nitpicking at it. Let us look at what happens when we level up as an occultist in Penumbra City, a World of Harrow game. So HP, so you only gain a little HP when you go up, standard ability score stuff, proficiency, hermetic progression. Okay, so this is what you get as you level up, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. So as usual, you start with 1, you get another one as you level up, you cap out at level 5 in this game. So, okay, cool. Nothing crazy here. Undying Curse. So we've got 2 curses that we've seen so far. So the Undying Curse causes the occultist 1 HP of damage to use. In combat, he uses his main action. The occultist may curse a number of targets up to the occultist level by making a successful will check against each target. Any cursed target which reduces 0 HP before combat ends will fight on as undead minions of the occultist for up to 10 minutes. I like that. I was wondering when we would get to make some undead. These minions cannot follow specific commands, but act for the occultist's best interest as they see fit with the intelligence that they had in life. So they're not mindless zombies either. They come back from the dead. They don't follow specific commands, but they just sort of help you out. Interesting approach. You don't get just mindless minions. You bring back capable minions for 10 minutes. They attack using the cultist's will and do 1d6 damage regardless of any weapons they have. Okay, cool. They do not have any specific abilities that they had in life and cannot communicate in a meaningful way. So they're not super powerful, but they are not mindless, and they are effectively under the control of the GM, not of the player. That's kind of cool. I like that. Okay, so basically, curse number, making a successful will check against each target. So this, in and of itself, doesn't do any damage either, from what I'm seeing. It is more of a, you mark enemies, and if they die during combat, then they come back for 10 minutes and just kind of help you out of their own quote-unquote free will. Interesting approach to the whole minion thing. Alright, Blood Curse, the second curse that we have that we can pick. Causes, okay, this one does cause, 4 HP of damage to the occultist. That is a lot considering you start with 10. Yeah, you start with 10 and you only get 1 per level. So even at top level, at max level, you're going to have 15 HP. That's at your max level. And this is going to cost you 4 of them to use. So let's see what it gives us. Cost is 4 HP damage to the occultist. In moments of calm, the occultist may move through the ether to a target if they can find the target and bestow a curse. Once this curse is bestowed, an occultist can sense the general direction and distance of this target by closing their eyes and concentrating for 10 seconds. Anytime that the occultist is in the ether, an occultist may close their eyes and see and hear through the senses of someone affected by their blood curse. They may even speak to the target telepathically while in the ether. So this, it's called a blood curse and it's got a really high price. But it sounds like it's almost more useful to use on your party members when you're splitting up, because it lets you keep track of your party members. It lets you talk to one of them telepathically no matter the distance. It lets you find where they are. Like, sure, it's also useful, I guess, to track an enemy or somebody that you're chasing. Also, go into the ether, curse them from the ether so they probably won't know, and then from then on you know where they are. You can even see through their eyes and whatnot, all this stuff. So very useful investigation curse or investigation ability, which again kind of fits the occultist vibe of them being very good at investigating. Cool, no major complaints there. But also we've got one curse that's only useful in combat and one curse that's only useful out of combat. Again, we also have a battle curse. That's just your standard curse that you get by default. And then this curses ability, so far, the only thing it would let you do is the blood curse once you pick that up. Unless there is somewhere else where we have additional curses defined, especially out of combat curses. You see my problem here? Anyway, continuing on the next, I've harped enough about this. Witch's Boon. An occultist may, as a free action, take 1 HP of damage to gain advantage on an attack roll. So really, you're all about just sacrificing blood for power in this character class. Let's see. Gonna catch you later, man. It's been cool. Brotherly hug. Hey, take care. No worries. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to be here for at least another hour anyway. This is what I do. You see why it takes me so long to get through just a few pages. Because we are deep diving on this. But thanks, man. Thanks. I will continue to do this. Not tomorrow. I am going to be streaming probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays. Those are my 4 streaming days. Weekends, yeah, depends. Mondays, almost definitely not. So we'll see how that goes. But I do plan to do a lot more of these, so hope to catch you then. All right, Witch's Boon. So basically, sacrifice blood, get powers, Circle of Binding. An occultist may, as a main action, hex the number of targets equal to their level by making a will check against each one. On a successful check, the target cannot use their next move action until the end of the occultist's next turn. All right, so crowd control, cool. Blood Harvest. When the occultist attacks someone with a knife, they can also make a will check. On success, the occultist is healed an amount of HP equal to how much damage they do on the knife attack. Cool, so you have a way to get HP back quickly. And also now we see why they recover 3 HP per rest, even though they start off with 10, because a lot of your stuff requires you to spend blood to actually use. So okay, there's some balance there. I get that. I dig it. I dig it. I am still feeling uneasy about the curse situation. I would have preferred, and again, I may still see that later on, a curse system, a list of additional curses or something. But I guess we'll get to it. If it exists, we'll get to it. So now the whole walking the ether thing, yeah, we already kind of looked at it, things that you can do. So Speak to the Death, Knife and Tether, Ethereal Traveler, See Echoes of the Past. All right, so we're going to kind of skip all this. We already kind of discussed that. Ritual tool use. So this is all the stuff. So here, okay, so this is also a kind of annoying. Look at all this stuff. Again, we're introducing a system. We're introducing a whole separate system for walking the ether. All this stuff, in addition to just walking the ether itself, just to get there, you have to do this ritual. It's got all these bits, different levels of kit, mobile ritual space is a full facility that gives you different things you can do. You can travel further when you are entering the ether. again, like a hacker would be probably able to get away with more if they were, connected to a mainframe directly versus, on the street with just their cyber deck on local Wi-Fi, right? It makes sense. Better tools will let you get away with more stuff. But again, this is all this system, all of this extra system and thoughts and everything for stuff that only one character is going to use and is only going to be affected by. Every character class has something that only they do and only they are affected by. No problem with that. But when the thing that your character does is something that's going to tie up the rest of the game for at least half an hour, easy. You see my concern there, I hope. So I don't know. I would probably do some pretty heavy house ruling and sort of slight fudging of stuff with the whole walking the ether ability to make it less. I don't know. Again, personal preference might be just pure personal preference, not necessarily something that other people kind of go with. But for me personally, systems like this, I've had a bad history with some of them. All right, so we're about to head into the Patchworker, which is the main healer, and I love that for us. But before we do so, I'm going to take a very quick break, less than 5 minutes, a quick bio break and water break and all that, and just double check that my cat hasn't stepped on glass. I'm pretty sure they haven't. They would have. No, okay, yeah, you're not stepping on glass. You just stop scratching my rug. I love my cat. Cats are great. I will be back in less than 5 minutes, and then we'll continue looking at the Patchworker. All right, so bear with me for just a moment. And we are back, and that's my face right there. Yes, Esme is always needy. My cat is neediest cat in all the world. So I have had some hydration. I will have more. Sip of Ghost, and also just showing this one off. You see this? You see how it says pumpkin spice on it? So this was a gift. This was a gift. I'm not going to show what was inside the box, but let's just say that cannabis vapes have officially reached fall, and that does in fact taste like pumpkin spice. We live every day. We stray a little bit further from God. Hey, you say this while I have 2 cats and an 8-foot radius. Yeah, cats do be cats. Let's go ahead and continue here. Here we go. With the Patchworker, I've been excited to see this guy for a while now, because I do usually like to play healers and support characters, so I'm curious to see what this game has done with them. The description apparently says, you know, some wild shit with fungus and patches of dead skin, so I'm curious to see where that goes. Let's see. Patchworkers. Read through it. Patchworkers. Wow, there's a lot. Some of these. Look. Okay, so what's the intro to? Hell, even the Occultist. The intro is literally this much right here. That's it. That's all the intro we get. The Patchworker. This is all intro. This is all intro down here. Wow. All right. So, I've been reading the intros. Let's read the intros. Let's put in the work. Let's see here. So, Patchworkers carve bad start. Patchworkers carve the flesh off the dead, usually the dead, and graft it to the living. That's about as blunt as I can put it. The patchworking art is maybe the darkest form of mycomancy known to us. A fungal concoction called the mother is stored in a jar, fed occasionally by blood. When needed, some of it is applied as a paste to donor skin, bone, or organs and are grafted onto the patient. Yes, it hurts. And if it's done badly, it scars, like real bad. It also works. The miracle of modern mycomancy. A patchworker can fix you up, but you might not like how you end up looking. Everyone is glad there's a patchworker around, just, you know, at a reasonable distance. And honestly, I hate that. It's like if we ostracized butchers. Is it sort of icky to kill and cut up animals? Sure. Do most people eat animals? Yup. So, patchworkers, I say they don't get enough respect. Sure, they flay human corpses. Sure, they've got freezers full of bodies of indeterminate and likely immoral origin, but they also heal us. I wouldn't be alive right now if a patchworker hadn't pulled me out of the canal thinking I was dead instead of just dead drunk, and, once realizing I was alive, patched over the 7 bullet holes in my chest. Anyway, that's a different story. So, yeah, patchworkers. Do they carry too many knives? Yes. Do they walk around in bloody aprons at all hours of the day? Definitely. Do they like to start fights with a completely unexpected scalpel through the throat? Sure. Do they spend hours reading about poisonous vapors? You bet they do. But when they're on your side, they're the best friend you'll ever have. There are some sorts of people you'll find anywhere in any faction. Everyone needs pie, right? Most factions have pie shops and pie makers. Pie smiths, we call them. My editor says I'm not allowed to lie, and that I should admit that we don't call them pie smiths, we call them bakers. But to that I say, what if we started calling them pie smiths anyway? Wouldn't that little bit of whimsy enrich our lives? So yeah, wherever you go, you'll find certain types of people. Patchworkers are one of those types. Every faction has at least a few. Okay, off the bat, my favorite description that I've read all game. Highlight of the book. If put a bookmark on it, that's it, we're done. Thank you for the stream. Good night. Good weekend. No. But highlight of the book. I absolutely loved that description. I want to play a patch. This This description immediately made me want to play a patchworker. It sets the tone, the flavor, if you will, the texture, the smell of it all so well. It made me want to play one, I think, more than the intro of any of the other classes that I've seen so far, with the possible exception of the Corsorian Knight. And was there any other that got me that sort of worked up just from the description? Occultist, definitely not. It was nice, but it wasn't top. Lordlings, yeah, I mean, it was good, but no. Labor Thugs, no. Gunslinger, definitely not. I mean, the description was fine. Gun Snipers, barely. No, like top of the line, that's it. Corsorian Knights, a distant second. Right now, Patchworker, you know, S tier class from the intro alone. Now, are we about to be sorely disappointed? Let's hope not. Let's hope not. My hopes are high. Let's see. Starting HP 10, HP recovery per rest 1. Okay, cool. Knowledge for patchworking, for speed, for fighting with knives, and vapors. So apparently vapors are a thing that you have. Cool. Let's see how that goes. Cat, I see you down there. I'm being a professional. I guess you're not really a professional streamer if there aren't random cat disruptions. I only wish my cat was the type that let herself be picked up without immediately flying into a murderous rage. She's a rescue. So if she wasn't, I would probably pick her up and show her on camera. But alas. Well, let us continue here. So, knives, handguns, and vapors. You are proficient in vapors. So this is a thing. Hopefully we're going to learn more about this very shortly. Mycomancy tools, so I'm assuming tools of your trade. And let's see here. Sorry, just checking the chats real quick. As expected, dead silence. Excellent. You start with 16 scalpels. Cool. Just a substantial amount of scalpels. A normal human, a reasonable and normal human amount of scalpels to have is 16. Vials of vapors, 3 of them. All right. Again, I'm curious to see what the vapors are all about. A lot of mention of the vapors. I am straight up getting the vapors myself after all of this. Let's see. One of yours is on your lap, so you can live vicariously that way. Hey. I mean, if there was a lap here, the thing is, I'm standing around. That's why I can do this little. See, look at this. All this mobility. I'm like a labor thug here with all this mobility. I'm fucking parkouring all over my little corner of the screen up here. So there is no lap. If there was a lap, she would be on it. She is 100% a lap cat. She's 100% not a get picked up and carried around lap. It is no. You become furniture. Couches are not supposed to move. Become couch for me. That is her demand and her desire. And she'll get couch. She will get me to be a couch as soon as we're done here. How long have we been going? Look at this. We're at the 2-hour mark. Beautiful 2-hour mark. Just in time to probably wrap this up in the next hour. I believe in us. I believe in what we're doing here, the journey that we are all going through together. And I appreciate you for being here with me. At least one of you, Struggle Bus, you're a real one down there, cat distractions notwithstanding. And everyone else, you are real in principle. I know you're out there somewhere. This is years later. You are looking back at the early career of a late rising star in the tabletop RPG milieu, and you're watching these episodes to see where I come from. Or now you see where I got it. Now you see where all of it came from whatever the fuck is happening here. I have high hopes. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Knife sayings. Okay. The Mycomancy Kit Thick Leather Apron, Mycomancy Wagon at Home, a written debt owed to you and a written debt that you owe. Hey, Ken Doyle, hey, no worries. Hey, welcome in. There we go. So there's 2 of you. You're the real ones. Happy Friday. Look at this. I literally just doubled my audience in a moment. This is my meteoric rise, cannot be stopped, will not be stopped. I'm so excited. So you start neutral with everybody. That's less exciting. No place of their own. Patchworkers do not have a faction of their own. They do make that clear. Everybody loves a patchworker, but also nobody loves a patchworker. Instead, they find places in other factions running infirmaries and providing patchworking services. When creating a patchworker, a player picks a faction as their home faction. The patchworker gains access to anything that faction would normally offer one of their members, including equipment and services. Whatever coalition that faction is part of is set to 1. All other coalition reputations are set to 0. Players are also encouraged to develop a story behind why they chose that faction. All right, so a little bit like the Lordling, where you kind of get... Well, no, Lordling has very defined... Right, Lordling, I think, is in good terms with everybody instead of neutral with everybody. Let me see. Let me check it real quick. This is what you tune in for. The deep dive comparisons. Yes, here we go. Lordlings. Yeah, okay. Lordlings are aligned with everybody, while the patchworkers are neutral with everybody, but you choose one. So you are technically, your home faction is the silver. Oh, I didn't pay that much attention to that when we were looking at the Lordling. That's interesting. Yeah, that opens up some stories, doesn't it? That opens up some interesting approaches given all the faction and coalition building. So that, not only does it open up some stories, it also opens up some challenges. I was wondering what the downside to this is. The downside is that technically their home faction is the silver. Their actions are bringing down the source of their power, effectively. Yeah, okay, that endears me / makes me a little bit more interested in the Lordlings. Throws an interesting wrinkle, which I think maybe is easy to miss. I certainly missed it during that first look through. Okay, I feel better about the Lordlings too, given this. So this is more like this is less flexible. You have all this power again, but yeah, that home faction being the silver, that is a golden noose around your neck. Okay. Meanwhile, the patchworkers, more flexible. Patchworkers are far more flexible. You start on good terms with whatever faction you've chosen to run your work at the infirmary for. And they like you because you patch them up. Makes perfect sense. Nobody else particularly dislikes you to start with, because you never know when you're going to need a patchworker. Solid. I like this. No complaints so far. And so yeah, exactly. Struggle Bus. It actually makes Lordlings a little bit more intriguing now. Before I was just like, they sound like a very useful class, both in and out of character, to have in a group, so I would recommend any group have one. They're also generalists, so they can fill in whatever sort of hole is missing. Like, it's the kind of class that I would probably give somebody who can't decide which other one they would like. I would give them a Lordling, especially if it's someone you know likes a little bit more social stuff. I would suggest the Lordling at that point. But now with this, now it's like, okay, now for its own sake, rather than just the fact that it provides me as the GM with a lot of interesting plot hooks. That is also a very interesting plot hook for the GM, but now it's a good one. Before it was just like, okay, well, that's a natural connection to sort of the other side through the Lordling, and again, very useful skills for a revolutionist party to have on their side. But that opens up good stories time, good story work. So I like that. Okay, anyway, back to the patchworkers. Hydrating. Non-combat abilities. No one's friend, no one's enemy. We were just talking about that. If a patchworker offers their patchworking services to someone with whom they do not have positive reputation and that person accepts them, the patchworker may make a will check with an advantage die. Without success, the person they healed will treat the patchworker as if they have a reputation of 1 for the rest of the day, offering food, shelter, and basic services. Cool. Pretty solid, and works with, there's no limit to how negative the reputation could be. So if like somebody from the church who probably you have a reputation, like -4 with, because this is late in the campaign or whatever, and you offer to save their lives, they take you up on that offer. Despite the -4, they are going to treat you, at least for that day, while you're gonna get away with a lot. They're gonna let you and your friends out of prison. Yeah, I like that. This is kind of a more useful late stage story stuff game, but I like that. And let's see here. Everyone's got one. Since most factions have at least a few patchworkers, a patchworker may attempt to pass themselves off as having a different home faction. Once per session, a patchworker may make a will check to trick someone into thinking that their faction is their home faction. I like that. Again, more social stuff, easy way to infiltrate. Very niche, but flavorful. So far the patchworker has been very flavorful, and I dig that. It's very quickly shooting to the top of my list, and I barely looked at the abilities, and the only abilities I've seen so far are purely social ones for very niche things, and yet, and we haven't even seen these vapors. I may have the vapors for the patchworker. Yes, what I'm trying to say. Morally flexible. A patchworker can, once per character level, reassign their home faction. This transfers their +1 home faction reputation bonus from the original faction to another faction. At the GM's discretion, switching from a home faction in one coalition to a home faction in a different coalition might result in a reputation penalty with the previous coalition. Interesting. This one I'm less excited about. But again, it's giving game mechanics to stuff that feels like it should be story beats. It almost feels like a way to mechanically allow for and present almost as a reward stuff that normally you would relegate to story. I'm not sure I'm explaining that well, but like the whole morally flexible thing. So basically, it incentivizes you in a sense to start with a character, with a patchworker that's actually aligned with the bulwark or the reasonable. And then throughout the story, once per character level, at some point during a character level rise, basically fully join the revolutionists. And this provides like a mechanical way to actually change your faction and therefore change the numerical effects that come with faction connections. Same thing with the Everyone's Got One. That's normally would have been something that I would have just said like, no, if a patchworker player came to me and said like, hey, made this argument to me, this not being an actual ability that's assigned to the patchworker, just came to me and said, hey, since most factions have at least a few patchworkers, could I pass myself off as being from this faction? I would have normally gone, oh yeah, cool, solid, I like that. Make a will check and let's see if you can pull that off. Actually, I'd probably do a whole scene, but it comes down to make a will check and let's see if you can pull that off, right? And yeah, like, and this could be part of that, like the no one's friend, no one's enemy would have been part of like what led to this happening or this happening, or in fact, this infiltrating started, like, this is the story I'm seeing here. Everyone's Got One is what gets you as a patchworker that's aligned with one of the bulwark societies, like maybe you're aligned with the church, or you're undercover one of the one of the army stuff, and you have effectively infiltrated the PC faction, and then when you are found out, shit goes down, but you save the life of someone in the faction, maybe one of the other player characters, etc. And then they eventually, once proven yourself, you officially switch factions. This is a story here, right? This is a pretty kind of stereotypical, but like, here are the mechanics to make that specific story happen. Is what just immediately it hits me with as I read this. Like, they're cool, but it's not necessarily stuff that I would have wanted mechanics for, if that makes any kind of sense. Like, those are now abilities. Those are 3 things from my non-combat abilities that really are things that are not going to come. Like, this one is once per level, so that's not very often. It's once per level, and again, very niche, like switching factions, stuff like that. Like, that's not a day-to-day thing. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about these. I like them, but I don't know if there would have been a better way. If this is the arc you want to present for these types of characters, and it makes sense. It's a good arc for this type of character. It makes sense, and it's a good arc that I've seen elsewhere. The doctor that switches sides, because at the end of the day, you're a doctor and you end on the side of good. You end on the side of life. Yeah, no, that was left me kind of thinky on that one. Let's move on to the next non-combat ability. So, Iron-Willed. A patchworker may roll knowledge instead of will on any check once per day per level. Okay. Cool. So you can kind of doctor house your way through anything that normally would take will. So effectively charisma, willpower kind of stuff. Okay, I like that. I like that flexibility. Yes, life, says Dr. Israel. Exactly. Master of Anatomy. A patchworker armed with a knife may, during calm or tension, make an attack with 1 advantage die per level. This stacks with die granted from surprising an opponent. During tension, patchworker can re-roll the failed speed check with knowledge to determine whether they surprise an opponent. Wow, okay, that came literally out of nowhere. Everything else, social, character, storyline stuff, etc. Nitpick, I know. Okay, cool ability, I like it. Murder. Stabbies, all the stabs. Stab first, stab early, stab often. I dig it. You know what? Sure. Give them the ability to just start shit. Everyone loves the doctor. Everyone's willing to give them a break and let them, and let them, let them into the organization despite having been with the enemy before and whatnot, because doctors are doctors. But also, they will cut a bitch. They will straight up cut a bitch. Okay, I'm back to being hype about these characters. The bit of a roller coaster, definitely not the low lows that we've seen with Gunslinger. Again, not even a low, just sort of a I don't know how else to have approached that within this system, but I'm unsure about this approach. Is the best I can say at the moment. Fuck yeah, stab times makes everything better. I approve. And speaking of combat, however, this is interesting. Patchworker is under combat abilities. Obtain donor, so you need donor material. So this is the whole thing: how to make an edible poison that paralyzes someone for 10 minutes. Make all knowledge checks with a Mycomancy kit with an advantage die. Patchwork can tell at a glance how many HP a human currently has and what the max HP a corpse can donate is. That's creepy, and I love it. But this, everything except Battle Medic, should have been in non-combat abilities. for your basic patchworking stuff, which they will apparently describe in the Mycomancy Tools section. Good to know that there is still hope for quite a few other things that I've been like, so when are we ever describing this? Looks like Mycomancy will be actually given a proper description other than just the assumption that it is the mancy of mycos, of mushrooms. It is mushroom mancy. So apparently we'll get a little bit more. Excited for that. Look forward to that on day 28 of Dan ever so slowly makes his way through a tabletop rulebook with multiple asides per page. This is riveting. Let's go. Patchworker. A patchworker can expertly bind flesh back together with the help of mycomancy and fungal paste rendered from a patchworking mother, which we heard about earlier, the mother. A patchworker is able to patchwork more effectively than other mycomancy practitioners. A patchworker can also obtain donor material in different ways. A basic description of patchworking is provided in the Mycomancy Tools section. For patchworker-specific rules for patchworking, see the Patchworking for Patchworkers section below. That sentence nearly killed me. What is happening? For patchworker-specific rules for patchworking, see the Patchworking for Patchworkers section below. I know exactly what it's telling me. I understand it. I know what's happening in this sentence. But also I don't. I am dazzled. This is a flashbang of a sentence that is, I have taken stun damage. Let me catch my breath here. Jesus Christ. I love this game. Let's get back to it. In addition to their improved healing abilities, a patchworker also gains the following abilities. So here we go. A patchworker is able to patchwork more effectively than other mycomancy practitioners and can do it in different ways. Okay, so basically the rules that should be up here, they're going to give them to us. Okay, because there's just going to be a patchworking section, which makes sense. Kind of, except, okay, so this should just be a healing or in the health section. I'm getting nitpicky, but I can't help it. Because I do it because I care, Penumbra City, because I do love you. I do love you and I want to play you. And I may as well get this out of my system now. You should see, again, I'm talking to you, game, the immaterial entity that is this game. I am addressing you. I am assuming you are watching this stream and sharpening your knives and going, what the fuck is this guy? What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Is what I'm assuming is what you're thinking, which, fair. The answer to that is quite a lot. Massive amounts, honestly. But I care. You should see the way that the games that I have played, that I've even played on screen and on stream, and in my personal games for fun. You should see the words that I have for many of the World of Darkness books. I hate those books with the fire of 1,000 suns. I love those books as if they were my very own children. I would take a bullet for those books, but also I want to shoot them. So I am doing this. I am being a nitpicky little bitch because I do fucking love everything that's happened in this book so far, and I want more of it. And I would like to potentially someday play this. And I know, and as I go through it, and I am excited, and then I run into this here. I run into the patchworker-specific rules for patchworking, which are in the Patchworking for Patchworkers section below. and I get, and you know, my watch vibrates and sends an alert to my doctor because I may be having a heart attack. That's this is the problem with doing this unemployed is I have no one to submit a claim to for injury at work. Let us continue bravely and in defiance of every OSHA regulation. Let us continue onward, my friends. Lurking time for a bit struggles, no worries, please. Lurk away. Lurk away. Using the noun along with the same base word for the verb is in fact what makes this complex. Oh, it is. I'm making more of this than it needs to be. It just took me by surprise. I was not, again, it was a flashbang of a sentence. I was not expecting it. You know what is kind of like a flashbang? Every time I look down and I need to figure out a better way to do this. Because all it is just this show is just hopefully people are paying more attention to the book and my lovely hands, so lovely, so manly, rather than what happens every time I look down, which that's a real flashbang you all deserve. Have you been flashbanged on Dan's stream? So you may be entitled to compensation. I may need to wear hats for future streams. You people tune in for this. I don't know what's wrong with you. All right, so let's go. In addition to their improved healing abilities, a patchworker also gains the following abilities. A patchworker knows how to make an edible poison that paralyzes someone for 10 minutes. Dope. Poison can be hidden in food, or a patchworker can make a strength check during calm or tension to force feed a caught target. This is fine. It is also identical to the mushroom thing that the Fungalians can do. Almost identical. So, meh. A patchworker can tell at a glance how many HP a human currently has and what the max HP a corpse can donate is. That's creepy and dope, and I love it. I love it. I love the wording. See how does a sentence that implies that at a glance you can look at somebody and size up the value of their fucking kidneys for sale, or at least for use, which may potentially be even worse. You have this beautiful sentence where you look at a human, you see how many HP they currently have, and the max HP that their corpse can donate. That sentence is a work of art, a work of beauty. I love it. Redeemed. We're back again, once again, 10-10 game. And it exists. It exists here on the other side of a page that contains, I'm not even going to go back there. I don't need to get tripped up again. I'm going to live in the moment and just take the gift I've been given and continue on. Battle medic. Patchworkers know how to get people back on their feet quickly. When someone goes out of action in combat, a patchworker can, a number of times equal to their level per day, cool, as a main action, solid, slap some patchworking mother on someone's wound and give them a revitalizing fungal tincture. Who does not love a revitalizing fungal tincture? I know I do. Big fan of those fungal tinctures. Always feel revitalized after. That restores 1 HP at the expense of inflicting 1 point of ability score damage to their target's will. Ouch. A character can only have this done for them once a day. Alright, so this is fine. And it does bring you back to 1 HP, so it means you're immediately active. Because normally going out of action without, in an everyday would mean you're out of that combat, and then that ability score damage happens anyway, but it specifically happens to the, if I'm remembering correctly, specifically happens to the attribute that took the hit. So if you go out of combat from something that you defended with strength, and it hits you and kills you, or rather takes you out of action, Then after combat, you come back with effectively 1 hit point, 0 hit point, something like that, but you take 1 point of strength damage, of attribute damage, to reflect the combat. In this point, you get taken out of action, you come back, you're immediately back, you're back in the action with only 1 hit point, but you still take attribute damage just specifically to will. Which, will being kind of your charisma social stat, makes sense because you've just literally been, boom, fungal patched back to life. So there's just a gnarly patch of dead skin and fungus, literally, melding to your skin and healing you. And it looks gross, so yeah. And while that heals, yeah, it makes sense. I like it. I don't know if. I mean, I guess this kind of game, kind of like Unhallowed Metropolis, which I do compare it to quite often. These games, there's no quick healing. There's not a lot of quick healing abilities, right? So as a battle medic, I kind of wish I had seen, because I don't see it after that, it's just like you make knowledge skill checks, so make a with an advantage die, normal, and it should have been in the non-combat section. And then the rest of this is knives, which cool, solid, and antidotes, cool, solid. I'll get to it in a second. But I guess I would have liked to see something in the healing / buff camp, which maybe these okay, you know what, we do have the vapors. I haven't gotten to the vapors yet. Holy shit, we have another half hour to go, and just one more character class after this one. I think we can make it before, and it'll only have taken us 6 entire hours to go through the 10 character classes. I'm so proud of us. We did it, boys. We did it. So let's get through it. But yes, I would have liked something that would, act as buffs or immediate heals, not just the ability to bring somebody back from the brink of death, although that is appreciated. But then again, looks like we're gonna have fun with knives anyway, and we'll see what awaits us with vapors. So let's see. That's too many knives. Once per turn, when a patchworker hits someone close with a knife, they may elect to leave the knife embedded in their enemy. So that's why you start with 16 of them. Yeah, 16 of them. Each embedded knife does an additional 1 damage at the beginning of each of the patchworker's turns if the knife is not removed, which, fair, because it's a knife. A knife can be removed as part of a move action or a main action by an opponent. So you just keep stabbing them and leaving the knives in. You got 16 of them. Oh, that's brutal. Okay, maybe you don't need to be healing people because you are just Stabmaster Stan, the patchworker. There's a character. Stabmaster Stan, the patchworker. Needs another knife in there. As a reaction, if the patchworker's ally who is close successfully attacks an opponent who is close, the patchworker may make an attack with a melee weapon against the same target. Because that needs another knife in there. Stab. I love it. Assist in combat. Cool. Again, back to 10-10 class. Zero complaints. Perfectly done. I don't know what anybody was complaining about. So good. Here, take this. A patchworker can administer antidote to someone as a free action. Solid. Guess it's my turn. A patchworker can, on their turn, okay, this is the out of action, use their battle medic ability on themselves if they are knocked out of combat, out of action. Cool. Solid. Physician, heal thyself. You can use battle medic on yourself. I love that because usually you take out the healer and that's it, right? You're fucked. This time, there you are. You take out the healer, who, by the way, is also the stabber, has been fucking stabbing the hell out of your guys. The only reason he finally went down is because he ran out of knives before you ran out of mooks to throw at him. He finally goes down. You take a breath. You're like, okay. At least he's not going to keep bringing the rest of them back any further. Now kill the... And that's when out of the corner of your eye, you see that fucker slap a fungal patch of dead skin onto the place where you slashed them in the throat and sit back up. I no complaints. Best character class in the whole game. Best character class in any game potentially. This just raised it S class once again. Double S, triple S class. Everything is forgiven except the gunslinger. Fix the gunslinger. How can you give me this? How can you give me the patchworker healing themselves in the middle of combat after all that stabbings, and in the same book deliver the sheer humdrummity of the gunslinger's progression track? Fix that one, please. You can do better. Look at this. This is so much better. You can do this for the gunslinger. I believe in you. Give me Gunslinger 2.0 and give me Gunslinger 2.0 and what I don't know. I'm not good at the memes. Look at me. You will have my sword blade thing, fist. I don't know. Anyway, too excited for the patchworker. The patchworker has won me over. It has really shown me that what this game could be, should be, would be, will be, perhaps. Character progression. Okay, so let's see how we grow. This is how we start. Let's see how we grow, because we still haven't seen the vapors. Now we do get to choose one of these as we start. As with every level 1 character, you choose one of the progression things right off the bat. So we will have access to one of these. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Solid. And these are leveled. We got a requirement of level 3 and level 5, so these are blocked out until level 3, and this is your top level ability. Big one. Cool. All right, we'll get to it very shortly. Let's see everything else. So just vapor progressions. Let's talk about it. A patchworker can create vapors with a mycomancy kit. It takes a patchworker an hour to create 3 vials of vapors. In addition, patchworkers may imbue their vapors with different traits. These traits are in addition to the normal effects and damage from breathing in vapors. When creating a patchworker and when leveling them up, a player may choose one of the traits below, blah blah blah, okay, the standard stuff. So when you start, you only get to choose from these 3. So look at this. This is basically the same thing that's happening with the gunslinger, where 2 of the abilities are locked out from the start. In fact, this was even worse. One of them's locked out until level 5, and yet, I already don't hate it nearly as much, even though it is kind of just as limiting. But it is cool because look at the things you can do. These are different things. The first one, potent. Patchworker gains an advantage die on attack rolls with vapors. Cool. Insta rage, awesome. Dizziness. Someone who breathes in these vapors is unstable for a round. Anyone who attacks them gains an advantage die on their attack roll until the beginning of the target's next turn. Cool. Crowd control, debuffs, excellent. Lasting. Someone who breathes in these vapors continues to take 1d4 damage at the end of the turn until an antidote from a mycomancy kit is administered. Holy shit. That one just keeps going until antidote. So until, otherwise, like, you use these vapors on someone, they will die. You just have to wait them out. Like, that's fucking wild. You can choose that at level 1. See what I mean? These are all dope. These are different things. These are cool, different things. Love it. Now, if you've got, level 3, nerve gas. Okay, I'm not going to say let's all cheer for nerve gas, because that's a whole other side of YouTube and Twitch that I don't need to be associated with. But let's see what the character does with it. These vapors linger in the air for 1 minute, taking up about a 5-foot radius. These vapors continue to harm those who breathe them in. Every round on the user's turn, these vapors do their damage to anyone who is currently in the cloud. Anyone who takes damage from nerve gas 3 times in a combat is paralyzed for 10 minutes, or until an antidote from a mycomancy kit is administered. So, yeah, basically it is... Okay, so nitpick doesn't say how much damage it is. I'm assuming we're just going to use the numbers from lasting. So the main thing about this is that it creates a cloud it's like a cloud kill spell. So in this area, You put in a 5-foot radius, so create a choke point. And in this area, that lingers for a minute. Anyone who goes through it gets hit with this, continues to harm them. But it doesn't linger. It just harms you if you're still in that cloud. Okay, so it does stop, which is why it matters that if you take it 3 times in a combat, then you're paralyzed. Because at that point, it's not going to kill you. Interesting. So this one's just murder. Last thing is just straight up murder. Nerve gas is probably murder, but if not, then paralysis and murder after. You're a patchworker. You have knives. Murder is still going to probably happen. But okay, I can see a different tactical advantage to that, or tactical use. Yeah, this is like a tactical gas. All right, and finally, the unnerved gas at level 5. These vapors linger in the air for 1 minute, taking, okay, so same thing, drop them and let them linger. Vapors continue to harm those who breathe them in. Okay, every round on the user's turn, the vapors do their damage to anyone who is currently in the cloud. Anyone who takes damage from unnerved gas, again, I'm not seeing damage numbers, so I'm going to assume it's the same 1d4. 3 times in a day, loses the ability to assess pain, risk, or reality. They are also highly susceptible to suggestion, doing most things that someone suggests, and hallucinating based on verbal suggestions. A character can make a will check that, if successful, they can use to persuade the affected to do something. For example, if they were on fire, they would cease to worry about putting the fire out or take themselves out of danger. They will not, however, directly harm themselves. This effect lasts for 10 minutes, at the end of which the affected is paralyzed until an antidote from a Micromancy kit is administered. That is brutal. That is fucking brutal. And fucked up, frankly. Yeah, wow. So you do damage. Once you do enough damage, you're just completely, all but completely under control. You can't tell fantasy from reality. And once that runs out anyway, if you were to survive, because you're not like on fire or just standing still while I stab you 1,000 times or 16 times, when you come out of it, you are paralyzed for life unless somebody gives you an antidote. Like, fuck. All right, so do not fuck with patchworkers. Still favorite class. I can see why you want them on your side. Maybe might be a little bit too OP, honestly. But you know what? Again, fine. I will take this as penance for Gunslinger. All right, look, it's the Patchworking for Patchworkers section where we will learn about patchworking for patchworkers. I'm going to read this because this is important. We need to know how patchworking properly works by default. So let's just kind of get through it quick, because I do want to talk about the Rat King before I run out of time, and I'm down to 23 minutes. Let's see. Patchworkers can harvest donor material from a human that has been dead for less than a day. Cool. So you need fresh corpses. Process takes 15 minutes per corpse. Cool. Assuming you get many corpses. A human corpse can be harvested for 5 HP worth of healing by non-patchworker Micromancers. Due to their mastery of Micromancy and Surgery, a patchworker can double the amount of HP they can restore and may treat a number of people equal to the level at once. Patchworking takes 5 minutes per HP healed. Okay, so you do have quick healing, or quick, quote-unquote, quick healing. Just not in combat, but out of combat, you are able to get some relatively quick healing done. Okay, cool, solid. As an example, a human corpse can be harvested for 5 HP normally, where a donor jar has 5 HP worth of material. Patchworker can use that material to heal 10 HP worth of damage. Cool. So basically, it's doubly effective for a patchworker, while somebody who is just doing patchworking as a proficiency would only be able to, get 5 out of 5. You could get 10 out of 5 as a patchworker. Cool. You are really good at the thing you are good at, even if it is something that other people can do, but this is your thing, so you are better at it than other people. Solid. I like that. Patchworker can use that material, so a level 2 patchworker could heal 2 characters. Oh, it's per level, right? Though the amount of oh, you can treat a number of people equal to their level at once. Oh. So, a level 2 patchworker could heal 2 characters from material harvested from 1 human corpse for a total of 10 HP divided between the characters. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, yeah.
Cool. And then the more you have, the more you can do. Solid. Patchworker can, with a Micromancy kit, create a patchworking mother, which, as long as you have the correct mushrooms, mother takes a day to become fermenting. Okay, cool, no problem. That's the fungal paste for the patchworking. Solid. Patchworker can preserve donor material harvested from a body for longer than other Micromancy practitioners. A patchworker can preserve donor material for up to a month. A single preservation jar holds 1 corpse worth donor material, so 5 HP for most users or 10 HP for patchworkers. Cool. So you carry around a corpse jar full of fermenting corpse skin. Again, top notch. Love it. Best character class. Patient requires 1 day of full bed rest per 10 points of ability score damaged heal. Oh, ability score damage. Here we go. Patchworking can also be used to repair ability score damage. Very useful, very important. So a lot of stuff, including going out of action, will hurt your ability scores. This process always kills the donor if they are not already dead. A fully grown human donor provides enough raw material to heal 10 points of ability score damage. This can never raise the ability score above its previous on damage maximum. Okay, this is restoration, not adding. Process cannot be done in the field and requires comfortable lodging, if not an infirmary. Patient requires 1 full day of bed rest per 10 points of ability score damage healed. These numbers seem a little wonky to me. I don't think you're normally going to have that much ability score damage. But okay, but cool. I like that it's there. I like that it's an option. Definitely, you should have that. I would need to look at these numbers a little bit closer. Something about them feels soft, but I may just be being weird. So let's go with during calm. A patchworker does not require a knowledge check to heal HP. Cool. Again, you're really good at what you're good at. You don't even need to roll. Solid. During tension, successfully patchworking requires passing a knowledge check. Solid. Patchworker starts play with a Micromancy wagon and kit. They can maintain the wagon through foraging and harvesting donor material. If it is ever destroyed or lost, they must acquire a new one through their reputation. Okay, cool. So yes, you have your stuff. Solid. We understand patchworking for both patchworkers and non-patchworkers. Let's go with the final character class, the Rat King, and the character art for that. Here we go. Look at that. Character art. Some people, they open that inner eye and they let it adjust to the dark. Those are the Rat Kings. All right, so the Rat Kings, the very last character class. Let's check them out real quick, and then we'll end the stream for today. And next week, I guess, we will continue, and we'll actually probably just get through the rest of the book very quickly because it's setting stuff that I don't want to go into. I'll probably linger on some of the systems as we're learning stuff, but I am going to skip over a lot of the setting materials. I'm not going to literally read the entire book out, but definitely character classes, as I mentioned in previous streams, this is worth, because this is the stuff you play with day to day. So this is where you want to get nice and deep diving on, right? So let's go to Rat King. Some people, they use mushrooms to open their inner eye, and then they close that eye right back again 8 hours later or whatever, whenever they sober up. Some people, they open that inner eye and they let it adjust to the dark. Those are the Rat Kings. Most of them are children. I mean, they're all capital C, children, like in the gang, the children. But most of the children are children. You get what I'm saying. Rat Kings are masters of the inner world. They're most famous and identifiable for being followed or sometimes enveloped in a swarm of rats. But there's more to a Rat King than that. They don't just order rats around, they commune with them, learning secrets that somehow don't make any sense while also making perfect sense. They also have poison darts in their blowguns, so it doesn't work to mess with them. Alright, so low hit points, low recovery, so keep these guys in the back. Your main thing is will, which they use for the Micromancy. Speed, probably good second priority. Okay, cool. You have proficient in blowguns and knives. You don't use armor because you have rats. Thieves' tools and Micromancy tools. Starting equipment. A swarm of rats. I would like one swarm of rats, please. 6 knives. Solid amount of knives. Not patchworker levels, but, respectable. Thieves' tools, Micromancy kit. So here's where, see, somebody who could be able to do Micromancy without being a patchworker. Blowgun and 30 darts, basic. And a bit of trash that fell from the sky that has given you an idea about what is going on up there. So you're aligned with the revolutionists, opposed to everyone else. Non-combat abilities. Let's start with the fact that apparently you're disgusting. Most people find Rat Kings revolting. All factions with whom they do not have favor will treat them as though their reputation is one lower than it is. So you you start at -1, they're going to treat you like a -2, both the bulwark and the reasonable, which makes sense. Look at you. I get why they do that, but also they are bigoted and evil. Fuck them. Solid. They're not even factions with whom they are aligned will treat them coldly. A Rat King makes will checks to intimidate someone with an advantage die. A Rat King also makes will checks to persuade people with whom they have a reputation of 2 or lower with a disadvantage die. Wow, so you have to work even with your allies to at least get up to reputation 3 before they'll really like respect you. That's rough. But in everybody else's defense, you're covered in rats. So I mean, you got coalitions require adjustment on both ends. Is kind of what I'm saying here. Scavengers. Most Rat Kings live in the junkyard of the Shadow, and all of them are adept at scrounging through trash and finding things in it wherever they are. Rat Kings gain an advantage die on checks to scavenge for objects, food, and materials. Cool. I like it. Basic, useful in lots of situations. Good stuff. Difficult to lose. Rat Kings know their way around difficult places. A Rat King has an advantage die on checks to find their way while traveling somewhere they are not familiar with. They also get an advantage die on checks to track people, animals, or monsters. Good. I like that. Helps with exploration and gives them some stuff kind of like the Dog Girls for getting around. And the Dog Girls are scouting. These guys are trackers. Love it. Flavorful. Let's keep going. Rat Wizards. Here we go. Here's the weird. Rat Kings are the finest mycomancers in the city. They eat fungus to talk to rats and have a swarm of rats bonded to them that they can use in a variety of ways. Rat Kings are one with the rats. And hey, Oni, thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. Get your inner Skaven on. Yep, exactly. The rats follow them around wherever they go and sometimes just swarm so thickly over the Rat King's body that it is hard to tell that a person is under them. A Rat King is not able to communicate with the rats back and forth, but a Rat King can issue commands like attack or armor or get that other one when using their abilities to direct the rats. Rat King gains the following abilities from being a Rat Wizard. Living armor. A Rat King can, as a free armor, order the rats to swarm over their body, providing them with an AP, armor points, equal to their level +2. Having their AP depleted does not necessarily kill the rats. The rats will just only offer so much protection. So it's basically armor. And we saw this earlier during one of the earlier streams, I think 1 or 2 streams ago, possibly 2 streams ago. Jesus Christ, it's taking me forever, but I keep being nitpicky. But basically, armor provides a certain number of armor points. They come back at the end of a battle, but they run out during battle. So if you have an armor that provides an AP of 3, it'll take up to 3 points of damage for you, and then it stops providing protection. So that's this basically. Because just like normal armor, it comes back at the end of combat. That's it's a way of abstracting that armor will only provide so much protection, right? So that's how they kind of abstract that out. So let's continue here. Rat attack. See description below in combat abilities section. All right, we'll see that shortly. Communion. Once per day per level during moments of calm, a Rat King can ingest fungus to enter a trance called communion, in which they communicate with the larger network of vermin and fungus that exists outside of their swarm. Ooh, so the literal hive mind. Any question they ask will be answered. Any question they ask will be in dangerous words. Where's my... I thought my cat... Oh, there she is. Okay, cool. Just checking. It is almost time for me to go. It's almost time for me to feed her, so I'm watching the clock. Let's see here. As part of community, the Rat King makes a will check. On a successful will check, the answer to the Rat King's question will make sense. Okay, so you'll get an answer. It doesn't have to make sense unless you make the roll. Okay, I get that. Cool. On a failed check, the answer is too cryptic and vague to be easily understood. Answers will always be somewhat strange, and answers can only reflect what might have been seen and understood by rats, roaches, and the tendrils of fungus that creep across and below the city. Normally, this process takes 10 minutes, but on a failed check, a Rat King may extend their trance another hour in order to roll again. They may do this as many times as they would like until they succeed. Cool. I like it. A weird research ability. Done. Solid. No notes on that so far. Combat abilities. Rat attack. As a main action, a rat king can direct part of their swarm of rats to swarm over and attack one target that is close. To do so, the rat king makes a will check. Success, the rats swarm up to the opponent, causing 1 point of damage that ignores AP. Nice. Once the rats are on the target, they stay there until directed or otherwise shaken off. The opponent continues taking damage, 1 point of damage at the beginning of the rat king's turn. Blah, blah, blah. Cool. So basically, dots, rats, rats over time. Rat over time damage. I dig it. Unapproachable. As a reaction to being hit with a melee attack by someone close, a rat king can make a will check. On a success, the rat king may have the rats lash out at their attacker, causing 1 damage. On an excessive success, the attacker is frightened. Cool. Love it. Part of the swarm. On each of their turns, the rat king is... Okay, this is your out of action ability. On each of their turns, when a rat king is out of action, they may command the rat swarm to either move their body to nearby or to use rat attack. Cool. So basically, you can still... or rather, your rats can still keep fighting even if you're out of action. Cool. Dig it. Love it. And if you die, then the rats eat you, which, yeah, solid. And let's see what you get as you level up, and then that will wrap up the stream for today. So can I do it in 10 minutes? I believe in me. Fungal progression. As rat king progresses in level, they learn new ways, yada yada yada. Tiniest of whispers. A rat king can exchange base thoughts with rats in their swarm. This is done through mental images rats are capable of understanding rather than words. Rats, so basically rat telepathy. You don't start with rat telepathy, you start with being able to give your rats basic spoken orders. This lets you to give them, this gives you basic rat telepathy. Solid. Nice little upgrade. And body swarm. During calm or tension, a rat king may use the senses of the rat swarm for up to 1 hour. As long as the rats are within a mile, the rat king can switch between their own senses and the rat senses at will, but cannot use both at once. Fuck yeah. Love this. This is perfectly flavorful. It fits the character class. It's exactly the kind of thing I would want to do as a rat king. Big fan of that one. Let's see. Errant swarm. A rat king can send a small portion of their swarm, already like it, to complete a task or an errand. The rats will attempt to accomplish the task to the best of their abilities as rats. Rats are very smart. The rats will stay committed to the task for an amount of hours equal to a rat king's level before returning to the rat king. Solid. Errand rats. Quick errand rats. Nice. Immobilize. While their swarm is on an opponent during rat attack, a rat king may, as a main action, make a will check. On a success, the opponent can make no move action on their next turn. Cool. Crowd control. Love it. And foreboding presence. So it's your higher level, it requires level 3. Once per day, a rat king with the collective power of the rats and mycomancy. By the collective power of rats and mycomancy. As a main action, they reach out to the mind of an opponent that is nearby. The rat king opens the opponent's mind up to the vast network of fungus and vermin that fill the city. In doing so, the fungal network speaks to the target and shows the target visions of things from the past, future, present, here or elsewhere, their death, or other things that the target finds nightmarish. These visions are not necessarily true, but the target believes them to be. The target is frightened. The rat king sees everything the fungal network shows their opponent. Okay, that's wild. That's fucked up, and I love it. I love it. You literally connect them to the rat network. I've got some Malkavian vibes, Malkavian / Gangrel / Nosferatu vibes. I'm getting some vampire vibes on this one for some reason, and I like it a lot. Okay, cool. This time we ended on a high note. I actually do really like the Rat Kings. I don't have a lot of complaints about them. Almost everything about them is pretty cool. Yeah, almost no notes on Rat Kings. Rat Kings and Patchworkers both. Patchworkers I did have some notes on, but still really like them. But man, see, you deliver stuff like the Patchworkers and the Rat Kings in the same book that you give me the goddamn Gunslingers. I know you can do better. I remain willing to be proven wrong. As we next week, I'll continue looking now at more of the systems and general systems in the book and see what it gives me, and very quick, hopefully, skims over some of the history and setting stuff. With mostly, I want to see systems. I want to see some of the enemies and monsters that it presents us, and we'll see a lot of that next week. But overall, I really like this. Like out of all the character classes, basically all of them except the Gunslinger I love, or at the very least like, and the ones that I do have some like thoughts about, again, some of them are just personal preference things, and some of them are stuff that I may not be picturing the system around them correctly. So we'll see how that is as we continue our exploration and deep dive of Penumbra City on streams next week. But yes, it is nice to end on a high, Ken Doyle. Thank you again for hanging out with me. As I mentioned on one of my social medias, I don't know if taking 3 hours on a stream to barely get through 20 pages of a tabletop RPG book is a valid niche in the content world. But if it is, I'm glad that I and my 3 viewers across 2 platforms are here for that. Solidly appreciate that. Again, there will be more streaming. I will be committing more streams to the interwebs because I do have the time for it, and a lot of the prep work that I've been doing for other stuff, it's now in place. So now I can actually do this, and I mean, if it works and I get players for games, then I'll have less time for streams. Fine. That pays. This currently certainly doesn't. So we'll see how that goes. But I definitely plan to do a lot more streams, and there will be some that will be just casual video game streams and stuff like that as well, kind of like the old days. But I am actually really enjoying these deep dives, and I'm glad people at least like to hang out and listen to me ramble. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back to just my big old beautiful face screen. Here I am. And thank you once again for hanging out. It is 6 p.m. here, or just about to be 6 p.m. here on the East Coast in lovely New York City. And we're in for what I hear is going to be a pretty nice weekend, one of the last sort of warm weekends before fall properly hits. Cannot wait for fall to properly fall over here. And so from the I was going to say from the Windy City for some reason, but that's not me. That's not me. That we're in New York, and thank you so much for hanging out. I will be back. No, not Monday. I will be back Tuesday. Tuesday at 2 p.m. I believe is the most likely time for my next stream, both on YouTube and on Twitch. And Wednesday remains to be seen. I may have a business call with a business person for business reasons next Wednesday. So I'll let y'all know about that Tuesday. I will not be streaming Monday because Mondays are days spent on other stuff. I don't owe you an explanation. Who are you people? Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out. I will see you Tuesday. See you next Tuesday. And yeah. Anyway, I'm going to stop being awkward now for you. Bye.